All right. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, and wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Legal Mindset. I'm Andrew Esquire, your host, and on this channel, we teach you to be your own judge. And Amber Turd, is one huge topic where you need to be your own judge and make your own decisions because, guys, the mainstream media is straight up lying. It is crazy what they're saying right now. I'm going to have more articles tomorrow getting into that. I'm just trying to focus today. We're going to just be talking about really perjury today and focusing on the 2 perjury cases. That's right. I did not clickbait you at all. There's not just one. There are 2 perjury cases to worry about in 2 different jurisdictions. And Dylan, I know I blew up your speakers, but be prepared. We're coming in hot, guys. We are coming in hot. So good to see everybody here in the chat. A lot of OGs, a lot of the people. Valiant Renegade, you are now modded. So do some work, brother. I love you. But anyways, also make sure to pound that like button. It helps us in the algorithm, helps us get out there, guys. So today we're going to be talking about 2 different perjury cases. But before we get to that, yesterday I covered the Vox and the Vogue articles. I did that really early in the morning. And thank you guys. Yesterday, you guys in the chat got me to 50K. So thank you so much for that. You got me over 50K subs. I really appreciate that. As always, helps when you like and you sub. Make sure you are subbed because sometimes these notifications don't go out. Sometimes these things do not go out. And also, good to see everybody from around the world here. Just for the record, this is around now is going to be my fixed time. So maybe I'll go live at 5 a.m. EST. It might be 5:30, but it'll be around this time pretty much every single day of the trial, right? So every day of the trial, I will be the first one up. I will be the first one streaming on it every single day of the trial. And I'll be carrying out for you guys here who are in other parts of the world. I am in Seoul, South Korea. I know a lot of you are out here around the world. I always see you shouting it out, and feel free to shout in the chat where you're from. We see we got Glenn Griffiths from Nottingham. We've got a lot of people out there from around the world. Some people that are insomniacs and are up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Some people in Australia. I know Naxcap wanted me to give my thoughts on Australian politics. Well, give me a second. We're going to get to the Australia segment so we can talk about that. California, which is really crazy. But there's people around the world. Germany. So what's up? Wie geht's? Hope you're doing well over there in Germany. Yeah. So hope everybody is doing really well out there. Frankly, you guys are the ones that inspire me to do this and get up and get it done. Here in Korea, it is 6:34 p.m. So let's start out today because yesterday in these articles, we were all called far-right, Russian bot, white supremacist, misogynist, crazies, extremists, right? Extremists, because we care about evidence. And during this trial, we've examined the evidence and we've said it's against Amber Turd. And because of that, we're extremists. And one reason that they decided we're definitely extremists is because we like the memes. So we're going to start with the memes. But first, let me get this $50 super chat from Valiant. Happy 50K. You might have earned this. Not sure, but screw it. Fly that flag, even if undeserved, which is likely the case. You hack. What's up, Valiant? I may or may not be on your stream later today. I mean, listen, you call me out, and I'm probably more likely to come on your stream just to hate right back at you. But thank you so much, Valiant. Great channel, Valiant Renegade. He does great stuff on Disney, and I've collaborated with him on Disney. And remember, guys, Disney is intimately tied into this. In fact, they're so tied into this that they tried to send, or they did send, the representative, which effectively said nothing on this. But Disney does not want their dirty laundry, does not want their communications, does not want everything involving Amber Heard and Johnny Depp from, behind closed doors exposed. They don't want that at all. But because Amber Heard tried to do that, because she tried to dig, Disney blackballed her. And Valiant covers a lot of ways in which Disney is really shady and a lot of the questionable practices going on at the House of Mouse. So that's a shout out for him. All right. So first we're going to start with the memes, guys, because the memes always tell the story. And you guys have sent me some fantastic memes to my Twitter. My Twitter is The Legal Mindset That's it, at The Legal Mindset on Twitter. You can also send some memes to me on my Instagram, which is Esquire International. So let me show you guys a little bit about what you sent me the last couple days. So we've got this right here. Now we're going to watch this video later. We'll watch the objection hearsay one later. But here you go. When Amber Turd becomes a public court record. This was my tweet that went viral. I love this. It's official. It's official. This is in the public record and will never be removed. No matter how much they try to censor things, hashtag Amber Turd is in the public record. It is glorious. It is glorious. All right, we got to make sure you tell them everyone who hates me is a bot. Yes, Amber, everyone is a bot. Johnny Depp, no, don't poop on the bed. Amber Heard, yeah. The Innocent Man, Johnny Depp, Camille Vasquez, Shannon Curry, Ben Shue. Very good. This is a wholesome movie. Wholesome movie. Based on true events. Yes. Amber on the stand. Move this over here. Amber in the audio. Yep. That's about right there. Stand versus audio. Good difference there. Captain Vasquez. The trial. Coming soon. Mr. Hankey, set to testify. All right. Now, let me kill this because I got to reshare this real quick through a different method to get the audio for this next one. This next one is actually really, really good, guys. Once again, the memes always tell the story. So you got to really pay attention to the memes here. So we've got this, and then we've got this song. Now, some of you may have heard this, but we'll let it play out. This is a classic. Classic.
Be respected, people took me at my word. Then I became a lawyer representing Amber Heard. Objection, hearsay. Oh my God, I don't have a case. Objection, hearsay. Now I'm ashamed to show my face. Well, I'm a famous movie star, your life is always fine. I sit down at my penthouse drinking mega pints of wine. Objection, hearsay. I don't know why we have no bread. Objection, hearsay. Who the hell poops in someone's bed? I object to everything. I may have an infection. Cause I say I object and judge says that was your own
That one gets me every time.
Objection, hearsay. How did I ever pass the bar? Just one final question, sir, and this one has been prepped. What is your name? My name is Johnny Depp. Objection, hearsay. How can you prove that that's your name? Objection, hearsay. Looks like we win and you are left. Objection, hearsay.
So yeah, good one, guys. That's a good one to get refreshed because that song is going to be renewed for Monday. Like that is going to be back for Monday. And we'll talk about Monday a little bit at the end. But first I want to get the perjury. But that's a good warm up. So hopefully we're warmed up with the memes, right? We're feeling good here. We're got 1,210 of you in the chat. Make sure you slap that like button here. It's all good stuff. Michael Turin, thank you so much, Michael. 50K. I don't know, sounded good. Congrats, brother. Let's get 100K strong. Thank you so much, Michael. Really appreciate that. And what is up, everybody around the world? I see we got another Australian in here. So good to see you guys in the chat. So guys, let's jump right into, we're not going to waste more time. Let's jump right into the meat of it, the perjury. So Amber Heard's lied a lot of times on the stand. It's hard to track all of the lies. In fact, I would have to get out some crazy, like Charlie Kelly and It's Always Sunny, like flow chart to track the lies, like some crazy pin board, some serial killer pin board to try to track all of Amber Heard's lies. There's too many. There's so many people that have contradicted Amber Heard in what she said. So many things, medical reports, police reports that have contradicted what she said. Because of that, it's just hard to track. But one of them that stands out is so problematic, it may cost her perjury charges. It may cost her perjury charges. And we are going to address that. We're going to address that one specifically. And I'll get this one real quick. Mike says, who do you think does cross on Depp? I think it should be Camille. It might be Chu, but I think it might be Chu. It's possible it can be Chu, but I think it should be Camille. Frankly, she did a great job. I think that would be the best call if it was Camille. My personal opinion. I am super biased on this though. So here's the part we're going to talk about today. So I want you guys to pay attention to what's said. I'm not going to play us a 4-minute clip. I won't play all of it, but this is the pertinent perjury I want you guys to focus on the charitable donations.
Sitting here today, you have not donated the $7 million donated, not pledged, donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity.
I use pledge and donation synonymous.
No one else does that, Amber. No one. Let's be very clear. This is not a thing. You can't make it happen. It's literally not a thing.
With one another.
But I don't. Ms. Heard, I don't use it synonymously.
That's how donations are paid.
Ms. Heard, respectfully, that's not my question.
Owned.
As of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the ACLU. Yes or no?
I have not yet.
And as of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, correct?
I have not yet. Johnny sued me.
So as of today, you have not donated, paid $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity, right?
I have not been able to fulfill those obligations yet.
Okay, that's it right there. We're just gonna stop right there. That's all you need. You don't need more. That's 1 minute of testimony out of this. It's a 4-minute clip. 1 minute. That's all you need. She has not paid them. That is pretty much the crux of it here. The crux of it here is she has not paid it. That is a fact. She's now admitted that in court, that she has not paid that. And it's been backed up by the evidence we've seen in court. We've seen financials backing that up in court that are consistent with that. We've seen the charities which have said, nope, we haven't gotten the money. So we have proof that she is lying. Like Whoop says, it's a Heard's litany of lying. Thank you, Whoop. Appreciate your membership. Pastor Flash saying, here's my $2 million pledge. Thank you, Pastor Flash. Haley saying Camille is boss. And Mechanical Elizabeth saying, if she could be charged and convicted of perjury in the U.S., how would that charge be leveled? And would that punishment be if convicted? It was pretty sure she was lying, and I feel like she was doing so with malicious intent. Well, in this particular case, Mechanical, and I'll talk about the U.S. last, so I will talk about this. But in this particular case, we're actually not really concerned with the U.S., perjury in the U.S. right now, because actually, I'll cut to it. I'll answer this super chat right away. In the U.S., there's actually the lowest chance of her being charged with perjury. Probably the lowest chance under U.S. law and just general U.S. doctrine. The very lowest chance of being charged with perjury, because she's in an active trial right now. If the judge wants to penalize her for lying, they could sanction her right now. So a separate court, unlikely to come back and get her for perjury. However, outside of the United States, there is a much better chance of perjury, and we already are seeing perjury investigations kick up. So right here, this is literally 3 days ago, and we're hearing more and more from the UK over perjury charges. This is real. This is not fake. So she can actually get perjury charges for the charity donation because of what she said under the oath in 2020 in the UK. Because she made that statement during the cross-examination that we just mentioned, that she has not given any actual money to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles or the ACLU. Because she said she uses those words interchangeably. So she previously testified under oath in the UK, that she had donated to the charities during the libel suit in the UK. Now, that was against a son. I get it. But she was at that trial making a statement. Perjury is about whether you're lying under oath. It doesn't matter who's on trial. So it doesn't matter that the UK trial wasn't her. It was the son. So it was a separate entity. That's irrelevant. Perjury can happen to anybody. If you're a witness and you're on the stand, or you're the alleged and you're on the stand and you lie, perjury is a potential charge. And because it's such an important thing to think about, it's very likely she could face these charges in the UK. Now, of course, this case has got to be resolved, right? This case has got to go away. We've got to have this case actually end. But speaking to a British lawyer, and I just had a conversation with a British lawyer, we actually have enough proof, according to the lawyer that I spoke to just literally yesterday, there's enough proof to actually go ahead with that perjury claim in the UK. That's actually a burden that they've met, that we've met. We literally have met with the evidence we have in US court. And that's actually, according to them, admissible. Now, I'm going to say right now, I'm not a UK attorney. I'm a Florida attorney. I'm a simple Florida man. But I trust my brethren over there across the pond in the UK. And if they're saying, hey, this is admissible, this courtroom statement in the US is admissible, then we can party. That's definitely perjury. Now, that's criminal. That's criminal. And on top of this, we potentially got another perjury case. So there's a second possible perjury case on top of this one. Let me grab these super chats first. Remo says, maybe she lies so much to make sure the FBI or anyone else cannot build a full case during her lifetime. I honestly, Remos, I don't think it's an FBI thing. I think she physically can't stop herself from lying. I really do. I really think she physically can't stop herself from lying. Seriously, I think she doesn't have any control over it. She just can't stop herself from lying. And the FBI is investigating her for witness tampering, according to Tug. No, I believe that. Separate charge, separate thing. But I think there's a lot of, if you look at everything that's going on in this case, everything that's going on with this case, all the fuckery on YouTube, with the witnesses, with Jennifer Howell, there's alleged intimidation by their team, with the PR teams, with David Shane. I think there's a lot of stuff that can be investigated after this. This is not going to go away. Not going to go away. So we have a second potential perjury case, though. And this one comes out of Australia. So she's still under investigation in Australia over the dog debacle, right? So she remains under investigation for perjury. Now, this for illegally bringing her and Johnny's dogs to the country. So the Australia's Department of Agriculture, Water and Environment said that she's still being investigated for lying under oath. So the department is exploring allegations of perjury by Ms. Heard during court proceedings for the 2015 illegal importation of her 2 dogs into Australia. Also, they mentioned the possibility of perjury in the UK. So you've got both of these incidents, which she is facing perjury for. Now, one of them is related to this trial, which is the one I was talking about in the title, in the card. One of them is not, but you've got dead on proof that she's committing perjury. So let me talk about one thing, though, extradition. So what is extradition? Extradition is when you get sent to another country to face trial. And this is a big issue. This is a giant issue. Now, maybe you guys haven't been following legal issues, but this is what I do on my channel. I follow legal issues. And one thing I have been tracking is the deterioration of the relationship between the US and particularly the UK. The UK has been extra, sour in its relationship with the US over extradition. The UK does not like to extradite people to the United States. In just the same way, even if Amber Heard did face a perjury conviction, let's say that she doesn't show up to her own trial, it might be a little hard to get the US to extradite her to the UK, particularly given the history between the US and the UK recently. You can go back, and there's multiple people that the US has tried to get from the UK, and the UK said no. Their excuse usually is that the US prison system is unjust, and because we have an unjust prison system, we're not gonna extradite anybody. We're not gonna send them over to the US. Julian Assange, famous case, not gonna extradite him. Now, Australia, Not the same, right? Not necessarily the same. I think Australia, there's a possibility there, but at the least, she'll be prevented from going to those jurisdictions. She'll be prevented from going there. The world, like Chris Banks says, the world will get smaller for her. And there's a lot of, think about this, guys. There's a lot of filming that's going on in the UK and Australia. She'll be cut out of all that filming that goes on in those countries. She won't be able to take those jobs. So as much as she's unhirable, she'll become even more unhirable. Mike says, Amber's reckless testimony killed her defense. Exactly. She got brazen. She got crazy. She didn't need to talk about this stuff. It was unnecessary for her to talk about this stuff. Haley says, do you think these investigations will actually get anywhere? I can't see her getting any real consequences. Well, Haley, I think that's a bad enough consequence. So let's say they go through a perjury in the UK. And let's say she's convicted, because based on everything I've talked to from UK attorneys, it is something they can convict on based on the evidence they have in US court. Let's say she gets that conviction. Imagine this. She will never be able to go to the UK again. I think that's a punishment. As soon as she hits the floor in the UK, she goes to jail. Does not collect does not plus $200. By the way, that includes the UK territories, right? So she's not going to the Falkland Islands anytime soon. The British Virgin Islands. She's not going anywhere. That would extradite her over to the mainland, or rather to the main island in the UK. Obviously, if she came to the Falklands, they're not going to try her there. They'd send her over to London. But the point is that it keeps her out of the country. Same thing with Australia. I think that's a punishment. And above and beyond that, think about the reputation hit she will take from perjury charge. And if it's a shoe-in, especially if Johnny wins, which is so important to follow this week. If Johnny wins, I think there's a massive reassessment here. Oh, and I'm actually joined by Jordy here. So actually, guys, let me read this one more super chat, and then I'll have a guest here. So I heard Biden is going to offer Amber a position on his Ministry of Truth after the trial. Also, the case against Elon Musk was dropped yesterday. That's weird. That's really, really weird. Really weird, right? Amber, I don't think Amber would be on the Ministry of Truth. I don't think that's possible. And I think they're going to disband that because they got enough. Unjust prison, or do they say unjust legal system too? It's kind of both, right? It's kind of both, but more it's the prison system. It's that our prison system is unfair, there's risks, it's dangerous, et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, guys, I was reached out by a UK attorney. One of the UK attorneys, actually multiple reached out, was Jordy. So, Jordy, welcome.
Hey, Legal Mindset, how's it going?
How's it going, brother? Thank you for joining me. Sorry for the late notice. I know I sent you the link like 6 hours ago, so I appreciate you joining, brother.
That's okay. I've literally just woke up and seen that, so look.
You're like, oh shit, he wants me to get on and talk about the UK.
Yeah, I literally just thought that, and I was like, okay. I was like, okay, I might as well just jump on.
Yeah, brother. No, I appreciate you. You reaching out to me. It's always good. You know, as lawyers, we rely on people who are like subject matter experts. Like, I don't pretend to know that. I'm not a family lawyer, right? I know enough to be dangerous, but I don't go in and out of court every day in family law. So I would talk to a family lawyer if they're a specialist, and especially when it's a different country. I'm like, okay, let me get somebody from there to talk about this. And do you want to give people a little bit of your background? You don't have to dox yourself, but give a little bit of your background and who you are.
I was going to say, yeah, I won't dox myself because I've got wife and kids.
No, don't dox yourself. Do not dox yourself. Yeah.
Because Geordie Walker's my online name, as you've seen from my Twitter and other things. I started my law degree when I was 18. I got a 2-to-1, so basically an upper class second honours in LLB law. Did my secure solicitor training course. From year 2 of my degree, worked as a paralegal and did that for 3.5 years, with the last 12 months having advocacy rights in court. Because obviously I wasn't a barrister, so technically solicitors don't have advocacy rights unless they do. Can you explain that?
Can you explain that real quick, Jordy? Because I think for us in the United States, that is a totally different system. So the difference between a barrister and a solicitor. Can you explain that real quick?
So the easiest way to explain it, I guess, is barristers are your advocate in court, whereas solicitors tend to perform the majority of their legal work in the actual law firm or in the office. That's the easiest way. You can have advocacy rights like I did, but the easiest way to determine it is barrister, in court, lawyer, out of court, in the office. So I predominantly worked within the family law sector. I worked for two different local law firms whilst I was a paralegal. And boy, paralegals do a lot of the legwork.
Yes, that's a fact.
So many people out there think that the solicitors and the barristers do all the work. No. Like 80% of the work is done by the paralegal, and the rest of it is then done by either the solicitor or the barrister, depending on whether it's actually got to go to court or not. But family law is such a mess over here, man. It really is. I mean, it kind of sucks, to be fair. I mean, family law everywhere. It isn't great, is it?
Yeah. No, it's not good. It's not good. But so what I wanted to bring you on was to talk about, like, we've been talking, right? And we've been talking about whether or not, because one of the big questions for the U.S. trial was how much of the UK trial is going to come in.
Yeah,
right,
and they brought in so much. I didn't expect them to bring in this much.
But they did bring in a lot, but they didn't just kind of like enter in the whole court record as facts, right? They can't just like say, okay, here's everything that was tried in the UK. You get to take the whole, transcript from the UK and everything that went down as facts. They haven't been able to do that. That's like the ultimate, admission, right? But they have brought in a lot of the testimony and the same witnesses, right? So one thing I'm interested in is talking to you. It sounds like these statements that Amber Heard is making in the U.S. court would be admissible in the UK court. Now,
my opinion is that they would be. So it's as I said to you, to be able to. Sorry, I've literally just woke up.
No, it's good. I'm putting you there.
Yeah,
it's fine. And I can read this like couple super chats here. Donna says Amber Heard could be working retail or selling makeup or OnlyFans. And LB says she won't be allowed in Australia or New Zealand either, as they copy the UK, who they banned from the country. Michael,
jumping on that one. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Australia is actively investigating Amber Heard for perjury. The United Kingdom is not at the moment.
Right, but they're mulling it over, right? They're considering.
Correct.
It, right?
Yeah,
it's a consideration.
Exactly, and like I think I said this to you. I actually think that the UK has a couple of different roads to go down. So, like, the UK could either. I don't think anything will happen whilst this case is live in the States. That's one thing I want to say. I just don't think it will. They'll do one of two or three different things. They'll either wait until the US case is over, wait until the judgment has been delivered, and then make their mind up on whether they investigate or not, or they will wait until the Australia investigation is done, and if Australia deem her to have committed perjury, then the UK will follow suit. Because, I mean, once one country's done it, all countries that she's had legal.
It's a bandwagon, right? Bandwagon.
It is. Right? Yeah, you jump on the bandwagon. Exactly. Yeah.
So do you think it's because I just said this, and let's see, you can disagree with me, by the way. Feel free to disagree with me. But my take is I think the UK will be very likely to bring a perjury charge if Johnny wins. If they see Johnny gets a W here, they're going to really consider whether or not they hit her with a perjury charge. That's my take.
I disagree for one reason and one reason only. Like I would love to say it is so clear as day that what she said in the UK trial is perjury. Because let's face it, she said she had donated, not pledged, donated.
Yeah, there's a difference, right? There's a difference.
Exactly, and the basis of the judgment in the UK was the fact that £5 million, $7 million had already been donated to charity, and Amber Heard had nothing to gain in any way, shape, or form, which we all now know is a lie because she kept the money. So that's what it would go on. But I mean, even if they investigate and they find that she did perjure herself, the US, I mean, I don't know much about international law and extradition treaties, but the US aren't going to extradite for perjury, are they?
It's unlikely, and literally it goes with a super chat here. So she won't be able to get any country that'd be willing to extradite the UK. What about the rest of the Commonwealth, like South Africa, Canada? I think South Africa and Canada would be more likely to ban her based on the UK, kind of, Queens, the Commonwealth countries kind of back each other up, right? But I think the US might be more reluctant because I brought up Assange, right? We were kind of salty about that on an international politics level, that they pretty much said our jails are so horrible. This is a judge in the UK said, we agree that we should extradite him, but the US is so horrible, so systemically horrible, that we're not going to send them to the United States, and that he risks getting killed in the US prisons.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Which I will say, look, given Epstein,
wasn't wrong.
I'm not saying he's not wrong. Yeah, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying that's their relationship, right? The relationship is what it is.
Yeah, the precedent's been set now. So once that precedent's been set, the US isn't going to turn around and go, "Oh, here, have her, just have her."
right. And we're going to get nothing from it. I think of it like in the Cold War, there were the spy swaps, like the Soviet Union would send somebody and they'd send somebody. So maybe if they gave us somebody for Amber Heard, right, we'll trade you. But
we'd just rather ban her. I mean, I don't want her in the country anyway. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. It's like this whole... I said it during the UK trial, and I'll say it again during the US trial. Do I think that one is guilty and the other one is innocent? Hell no. I do genuinely believe, based on the evidence, not based on, like, their stories, but based on the actual evidence, I do believe that there has been abuse from both sides. But the question for me is, when it comes from JD, is it purely retaliatory? Because if it's retaliatory, it's self-defense and it's not as bad. I physically at the moment can't turn around and say I think he's hit her without it being retaliation.
Well, see, here's the thing, Jordy, and I'm agreeing with you. I actually agree with your sentiment there, because I can totally see, a situation that's retaliatory, right? Where like she put him in a cornered him, he's trying to get away, and she pushes him, shoves her, maybe even in a situation, maybe he even hit her, right? However, what was the thing that prompted it? Was it that demonic cackling that we heard when she had him trapped? I mean, what was it that did that? But the allegation that I think damns her in this one is the sexual one.
Yeah, she's got no chance on SV. Nobody believes that bottle incident. Nobody
believes that.
I'm sorry. How does look at it logically? The order of events is, if you look at it from her point of view here, he chops his finger off. He grabs her by the neck and pins her to the kitchen counter. He then grabs this bottle and does whatever he does. If I've chopped my finger off, I've worked in a few kitchens to try and get a bit of extra money and whatnot. And I've cut myself a few times, and even with adrenaline, it's still gonna hurt. You're not gonna then pin somebody down, and I just can't see it. It just seems so out there.
As you're bleeding out, right? As you're bleeding out, you're like, essaying her. I mean, I just don't believe this is a credible story. And it's so extreme. If it was more minor, then I might actually believe it, right? Like maybe, he's saying, oh, Johnny, grab my boobs or something like that without me, something like that. Maybe I might believe it. But this is just extreme. And it seems like she's doing the same thing with her story as she is with her damages. She's saying, okay, whatever Johnny is alleging, he did twice as bad to me. So whatever he alleges, it's twice as bad. Literally, in her damages, she actually wrote in parentheses in the actual complaint, the damages are twice as much as what Johnny alleges.
Wow!
As if that's a basis for damages. As if it's a basis for damages. I'm hurt twice as bad, so give me double.
And it's like I work in data analysis now. I moved out of the legal industry and I now work for a big company doing data analysis, and I'm actually thinking about doing a little review at the end of the trial, because I normally do gaming stuff, but obviously I've got this knowledge in that. But and I'm thinking about doing something where I basically just go, look, this is how easy it is to rip his data apart based on what he presented. I don't even need to go into the backing data, just based on what he presented. It is so easy to rip apart.
The Twitter dude.
Yeah,
that was ridiculous. That was so ridiculous, wasn't it?
I don't understand it. It's like, from my point of view, I understand the fact that obviously you're talking to a bunch of lay people at the end of the day. So you want to make it sound as simple as possible. You want the data to look as simple as possible. Therefore, your tables and your graphs are easiest. But the first big no-no he ever did is he took away justice for Johnny Depp. That number is not anomalous. You only take out data from data sets if you find it to be anomalous data. Exactly. The justice for Johnny having the biggest amount of people around it, like 900,000, I think they said, is in no way, shape or form anomalous data. I mean,
right.
And the fact that they've only gone back to 2018 is another issue I have. I mean, I get that 2018 is kind of when things started to spiral in this instance. But Justice for Johnny, 2013. Amber Turd, 2016.
How great, Jordy, how great is that that's a court record in the United States? Right? That's an official, they put up, they it's like a self-own. They literally punch themselves in the face.
Yeah,
they make up kid of themselves like Amber did, you know, because literally it just gets people rolling laughing, and it shows you that, hey, this is organic. You can't make that shit up, right? That's definitely something that's totally organic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would never have entered that into court record. There are plenty of negative tweets out there towards Amber with loads of hashtags on where you just didn't need to use Amber Turd. I mean, the lawyer got to say Amber Turd how many times? And did you see her reaction? Did you see Amber's reaction?
It was glorious.
It
was glorious.
Absolutely
I love
fantastic.
that. I mean, it's like you can't make that up, and it just ends up hurting Amber. I think Amber is the one who is obsessed with, I think Amber checks every day. I think she's the type of crazy, vain person who goes on the internet and Googles her name every single day, and she is seething. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell it when she looked when she looks around, like when something's not been said, the way her jaw's clenched, the way she kind of like twitches, you can just tell it's really, really, really bugging her. And did you notice one of the things I noticed? Obviously, Johnny doesn't look at Amber, but did you notice how when Whitney was on the stand, the death stares she got from Johnny?
Oh yeah,
that was not good. That was not good at all. Not good.
Yeah. No,
but going back to the UK trial, I mean, there's so much about that.
Let me ask you one question, because I got a question here, and this is a good one for you to like opine on. Somebody asked this, and I've actually heard this from several people, and that is, okay, let's say she committed perjury. Let's say she's convicted of perjury. I know the answer in the US, and I know what the answer probably is in the UK, but is there any way to open back up that trial? Is there any way to retry that? Like, if she did commit perjury, is it possible to open that back up, or is that case closed forever?
It was a high court case, so it's extremely unlikely to reopen a high court case. And I believe after it, he already lodged an appeal and potentially lost that appeal. If I remember correctly. So, I mean, once you've appealed something, you've appealed it. Whether new evidence, I mean, new evidence hasn't really come to light. It's just the fact that she's perjured herself. So I guess when they look through this perjury case, they could also look through that case and go, wow, the judgment given was based off of this perjury, so we'll reopen it. But they wouldn't be able to take any new evidence because they'd have to deal with it. It'd basically just be a new judge. Yeah, it'd be a new judge looking at the existing evidence, the existing testimonies, the existing cross-examinations and everything, and going, do I agree with this judgment or not? Which, I mean, Justice Nichols should never have been doing it in the first place. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a great justice, and some of the trials he's done are fantastic. He just should have recused himself on this one, in my opinion. Because
he was too intertied with all that. I know tons
of
people sent
me that
kid,
web.
Yeah, but there's this whole web of connections that he has in his firm and hosted people who related to Amber Heard. There's so many connections in that court case. It was crazy.
And even if it's not true, I mean, obviously I don't think we actually know for sure 100% about these connections. I think a lot of it is speculation based on what could potentially be a potential connection. But even so, when you've got so many of these things coming out, and they were coming out like before the first day of the trial even started over here, if I was that justice, I'd have just recused myself. I mean, I'm pretty sure he stepped down fairly shortly after that trial anyway, which is very suspicious. I mean, you put through a judgment that pretty much nobody apart from the defendants agree with. You have a shed load of controversy around your role in that, and then all of a sudden you step down.
So he stepped down. He retired, right? He's done. Like, he's out.
I'm pretty sure he's out completely now. Yeah.
Okay, so completely done. Yeah, that is kind of sketchy. I mean, maybe it's because of the blowback he got over it, but it does make it really, 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 really suspect.
Yeah, like really much. So it's like really much isn't even the word. Like, so sus.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I mean, to me, that would call for an investigation and inquiry into the actual judge himself, and like an ethical inquiry, because I mean, we can do that to a certain extent, you know, if there's potential corruption, nepotism, you know, or any sort of quid pro quo, right? So I mean, it's something that is worth looking into.
It should have been done over here.
Yeah. To catch this, some of the super chats. Thomas said, "Figure out how to ask a makeup artist with a bruise kit, then have Johnny D apply on the stand to make a bruise. Thanks for all you do." You know, I need to find the photo. I will find it for tomorrow. But some people have sent me this picture, the ice cream picture, where you know that picture where he's got the ice cream in his lap. So apparently, in the foreground of that photo, right on the table, there's a makeup kit that's open. And it just so happens to look a hell of a lot like a bruise kit, a theatrical bruise kit.
That's the picture with Johnny spilt ice cream on him, yeah?
Ice cream, yeah.
Hold on, let me just check.
Pull it up.
I'm literally just having a look for it myself on my iPad.
Let me find that photo real quick because it's very, 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 very interesting. It's a new fact that's been brought up. Okay,
holy moly! Yes,
you see it? You see it on the table?
No.
I'm gonna pull up an image. I'm gonna pull up an image real quick, guys, so you guys see this and make sure, and you guys see that I'm not making up shit. Like I can't make this stuff up, and you guys are like internet sleuths out there finding this stuff. So okay, this is a big compound photo, but here's the ice cream photo. Look at this right here, guys. Enhance. Right? What's this right here?
Well, that just looks like a piece of laminated paper, which has got different like color palette, a couple of different color palettes on it. So that's where I can't actually see a makeup kit there.
Some people have pulled up the image and found bruise kits on that. Guys, if anybody has like the one that they found the bruise kit, I know some people send that to me. You can send it to me on Twitter if you guys are the ones who found that photo. I'll try to find it later. I'll bring it up tomorrow for sure if nobody sends it to me right now. At the Legal Mindset on Twitter, guys. But that's just, once again, we're seeing more and more lies exposed. More and more.
And one thing I want to say about her makeup is, do you remember when she was under direct examination and she held up that makeup kit and said, "Oh, I would use something like this." Obviously not this one. Now, if you looked at the very top color in that palette, it was purple. Purple is one of the standout colors in a bruise kit. So why would you use a makeup palette that has purple in it when you're on the stand saying, "Oh, this was my bruise kit"? Oh no, not my bruise kit, my color correction kit.
And the way she talked about the colors used, and I had a makeup expert on my channel, and she talked about, she's a makeup artist and does this, and she talked about the colors you'd use on the opposite side of the wheel. But even the order that she used for covering up the bruise was wrong. Like the colors that would come
color
out
correction goes on first, not last.
Exactly. That was really weird. Britt says, "Legal Mindset. I cannot believe you think Amber Heard is not telling the truth. She has to be credible. I mean, just look at how let's look at her. She presents as a woman, therefore she must be believable. She is the most believable witness since Juicy Smollett in Chicago. Yes. Hashtag believe all women."
No. Let's not get me started on that.
Did you see those articles from Vox and Vogue?
I've seen every person on LawTube going through those articles, and wow, we've got it over here, right? The Mail Online yet again coming out and putting things in there, and it's like, do you know what? To an extent, I say yes, believe all women. I say believe everybody, because to an extent, when a DV or an SV claim is made, it needs to be investigated properly. But that's it
right there. But that's what you're saying, Jordy. What you're saying is investigate all claims. I can get behind that. Get behind that. I'm okay with that. Investigate. But here's the thing. Do not, when believe, the reason why believe is dangerous is believe means before you've done any investigation, any confirmation, just automatically accept as fact. And when that's done, you lose your job, you lose your reputation, you lose your livelihood, your friends and family exile you. You are a pariah. I think that's dangerous. Investigate. I'm 100% behind that. I think all claims for men and women should be investigated seriously. That I can agree to.
I mean, there's a very high-profile case over here in the UK with you're American, aren't you? So you won't call it football. What do you call it?
Soccer.
Yeah, there you go. No, it's not called soccer. It's called football. But there we go.
Okay, it's okay. We'll have it. I'm actually in Korea, so like I really like. I'm not committed to this right now. I'm not going to be married to this.
But yeah, there's quite a high-profile case where a footballer from Manchester United, so one of the big teams in the UK, one of the big six over here. Was actually accused of SV, and that accusation went obviously massively public. his team shunned him. He's not allowed to play anymore, so he's effectively lost his job. Yeah, a lot of his family have stopped standing behind of him. His fan base has massively dwindled. The amount of hatred he's getting online, and it's like, yeah, an SV claim has been made. Great. If he is proved guilty of that SV, then he can excuse my language, but all the shit can go towards him. I don't care. If he's been found guilty, he deserves it. But until you've been found innocent or guilty, your name shouldn't even be released to the public. Like,
yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
I just don't get it. So many people's lives are ruined, and people say, "Well, once you're found not innocent, it's fine." No, it's not. You never get the reputation back.
And here's the thing, Jordy. I don't know how the process is in the UK, but even in the US, where we have speedy trial and we have all these other rights, it can take years.
Yeah, it can take years and years and years. I mean, it's without going too much into my history, it's one of the reasons I never pushed for anything in my past, because A, it was a family member. Not many people are going to believe that a family member would do something like that. B, I was like 11 years old. Not many people take kids
seriously. Yeah, I think kids are exaggerating.
Yeah, they think kids are exaggerating and making it up. And I had a bad relationship with this person anyway, so they'd have just been like, "Oh, you're lying because you don't like him."
Right.
Right. And it's like, it probably would have taken, like I'm 25 now. That was 11. It probably would have taken till now to even get sorted.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
It's just these kind of things, they need to be taken seriously. And if somebody is reporting a claim of DV or SV, you should handle them as you would handle somebody that has actually been proven to be a victim. But don't necessarily believe their story until all the facts and the evidence has been considered. Because
I'm okay with giving them. No. I was going to say, I completely agree with you. I think it's okay to give them counseling services, right? Let them give them access to a DV shelter if they want. That's fine. Give the alleged victim access to those services, which should be available to everybody. And one of the real kind of touchstones of whether or not this is a legitimate claim is whether they use those services. If they feel like they need to utilize them versus if they're just like, "No, I'm cool. I don't need any of that stuff." Like Amber Heard, who said, "No, I don't need to see a doctor. I don't need to talk to a therapist. I don't need to talk to anybody about this except for my one or two friends," which I did not even telling them the real story or the full story. I just don't believe that. It's just hard for me to believe that she's going to use no resources at all, because after this horrible incident. So here's the photo that I showed. Here's the zoom in, and here's the kit. So look right here. So you have kind of an
oh shit.
Look at this. Look at this next one. This is a theatrical bruise kit. Right here.
Now, is this similar to the one that's been passed around in the TikTok? Because if my question, if so,
I haven't watched every single. There's so many TikToks. It's hard to follow all the things. You know how it is. I mean, it's so hard.
There's so many. Yeah, my wife showed me one the other day where there was this makeup artist that had reacted to a law tuber and had put it side by side, and she'd be like, "Look, she was a theatrical bruise kit artist who did it on theatre on stage." And it was a similar one to that. But my only question with that is the same with the Milani kit. Did those type of kits exist back then? Obviously, bruise kits would have existed, but the ones that look like that, because like my understanding is most of it was finger makeup for bruise kits and things like that. And obviously, I'm not an expert. I don't wear makeup. I'm a bloke.
Are you sure?
My wife...
sure? Hey, Jordy. I mean, it's for everybody nowadays, right? IO, anybody, you know.
Oh, God. IO is such a simp. I'm sorry, but IO is the world's biggest Amber Heard simp out there.
He is so cringe. I just like, IO is the most cringe out there. Like, of all the witnesses, that one was hard for me to watch.
I mean, the impression I got from him was just that he wanted to ride that train and ride it bad. Yeah.
And by the way, that's what it was. It was the neediness and the orbiterness, like that orbiterness. It's not who he is or what. I mean, you can be whatever. You can be LGBTQ plus. I don't care. It's that like Gollum, like, you know, stalking, you know, and just it's weird. You know, it's just really, really awkward. It makes you feel kind of dirty almost to know that someone like that was orbiting, waiting in the wings. I'm assuming hoping for something sexual.
That's what I meant by he clearly just wanted to, smash. Yeah, that's what I meant by we wanted to ride that train.
Or scissor or whatever, whatever he wants to do. I mean, I don't know what was going on down there. Who knows, right?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Pavan Asma Adusami, I don't know. Assuming jury gives Amber Heard some slack, is there enough evidence proving that there's verbal abuse towards Amber Heard by Johnny Depp? I know physical, there's no evidence. So here's the thing. In Virginia, verbal abuse can be enough. So because of that standard, I think the weaker claim, like legally, the just generic abuse claims, those aren't great. But remember, there's 3 issues Amber Heard has to clear here. The abuse, there's generic abuse, that's 2 of them. But one of them is the sexual abuse.
She's lost
that's
on that.
The one
she's lost.
That's the one. You cannot get me to believe that Johnny Depp has sexually abused her.
So I missed the beginning of this trial. I know what the 3 statements Johnny are claiming are defamatory are, but like what? And I know the title, and I know like one of the I know the statements that Amber's trying to say of defamatory have obviously come from Waldman. But are this is the question I have. Are those questions just about abuse in general, or do they specify like she's got to obviously deal with the SV one, but the claims that Walden are making when it comes to abuse, were they specific in categorizing a type of abuse or not? Because I haven't heard any mention of verbal abuse in any of these statements.
You mean the counterclaim?
Yeah, the counterclaim, yeah. Because that's what she's got to prove, basically. Yeah,
the counterclaim, and I can pull up the counterclaim real quick, but essentially the biggest issue for the counterclaim is the fact that they haven't proven that Johnny directed. And by the way, they won't probably be able to admit this because of attorney-client privilege, which is, do you have something similar to attorney-client privilege in the UK?
It is the biggest brick wall that you will ever try and get through.
Right.
I basically always called it exactly what you guys call it because it's got some weird name over here. Let me have a look. I've got it written down.
I know
here.
it's probably some like ridiculous, like very specific name, but that's the strongest thing. Like of all the things you don't want to butt your head against, of all the things, there's case law. There's lawyers that have gone to jail because they refused to give over information about their clients, and the court has come back and said, nope, that's okay. Lawyers like have this right. It is a huge privilege. It is fundamental to our justice system. Therefore, we're not going to allow you to pierce attorney-client privilege.
Here's my query with Waldman, though. Waldman, and I don't know if you know this, but the company, so the law firm that JD is currently using for his team in Virginia is the exact same law firm, I'm pretty sure, when I did my research, that he swapped to partway through the UK trial. So my question is, the statements from Waldman, did they come after that swap? Because if they came after that swap of attorneys, they can't be attributed to Johnny because he was no longer Johnny's attorney.
It was 2019 here, so I'd have to check that timeline. But the statement, so here's the actual counter. This is the actual document, right? So in every other, by the way, all the other counterclaims in here, there's 3 counts. The other 2 counts are really thrown out. It's really this count, only the Waldman statements here. No other statements, just the Waldman statements. So here we go. That Miss Heard is committing defamation, perjury, and filing and receiving a fraudulent temporary restraining order demand with the court by falsely accusing Miss Heard of not being attacked by Depp.
Okay, so, yeah, that.
So see, this is one, and then we got here. Hold on, here we go. So Miss Heard continues to defraud her abused hoax victim, Mr. Depp. The Me Too movement she masquerades as the leader of, and other real abuse victims worldwide. That's another one. And then the last one is that Depp through Waldman told Blast that Miss Heard went to court with painted on bruises to obtain a TRO. Okay, so you've got these statements right here, and then you have another one. This last one here. This is probably the most famous. Amber Heard and her friends in the media use fake sexual violence allegations as both a sword and a shield, depending on their needs. They have selected some of her sexual violence hoax facts as a sword, inflicting them on the public and Mr. Depp.
That was in the hard copy of the Daily Mail. Yeah, I read that on the day it was published. And do you know what? Okay, so...
What do you think about that?
The SV one, she's got no hope of ever trying to defend against. I mean...
Right.
I think everybody has some level of doubt on it. I'm not saying that it might not have happened because I would never want to say that. I mean, it completely, but there's just no evidence that points to it happening. I mean, She didn't go and get help afterwards. And like even with mine, I had a therapist at school that I spoke to. And the only reason she didn't take it further, even though technically she was supposed to by duty of care, is because she knew my family quite well. And she knew that the reaction that the people in my family would have alongside most likely the police force where I lived in the UK at the time, because I lived out in the sticks in the middle of nowhere, where the police force there probably dealt with one SV case every 10 years. That's how rural it was. So I would never want to say that it completely didn't happen, but like that doubt is there. And I've got to think that every juror has that doubt, and that's all they've got to have. They've just got to doubt it happened. They don't have to say, yes, it happened. No, it didn't happen. They've just got to have the doubt that it actually happened. Yeah.
It's a pretty low threshold.
Isn't it 51%, I think?
Yes. I mean, but for me, here's the thing is that I can say, you know, our criminal standard is beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't know if your criminal standard is close
beyond
to
a
that.
reasonable doubt.
Right, beyond a reasonable doubt, right? Beyond a reasonable doubt is not 100%, right? Technically, there's some like crazy stuff that could happen, right? Like aliens could come down from, you know, whatever, and that's your, you know, little fraction of a percent there. It's kind of like more like 99.99. You know, it's very certain.
Yeah,
there's still a percentage chance, right? So yeah, I can't say 100% that nothing happened that there was no essay, but I can say beyond a reasonable doubt, I'm comfortable saying based on the evidence that I've seen in courts, and like not looking at anything else, just paying attention to what we've seen in court, what we've all looked at, right? All 5,768 of you, make sure you smash the like button if you like this. But based on what I've seen, I can say, based on the evidence, I'm beyond a reasonable doubt that there's no essay. That's me. Like if I'm in a jury box and you asked me that and you said that's the standard, is there, is or not? I would say I do not see it. I just do not see it based on any of the evidence presented. That's where I'm at. Maybe some other people would say, no, I'm willing to give it, you know, a 90% chance or an 80% chance that it didn't happen, but I'm not going to give it 99. I'm at, look, everybody who's broken down the stories, the conflicting stories, the staircase story, which we've got 6 other stories of, the incident in the bathroom, which we've got now multiple different conflicting versions of, and which don't even line up. Amber's version of the bathroom incident doesn't even line up with the floor plan and how the doors kind of like swing. It's kind of really weird, but it doesn't line up with any of the actual facts. And because of that, because Amber is asking us to literally say the police are lying, the medical reports are lying, even Whitney is lying because Whitney has a different story than her. Because we have to believe that. I just don't.
I think it was the second set of cops on that December or May 21st, whatever incident it was that had the body cam, right? The second set of cops.
Yeah, the second set.
Yeah. So ignore the second set of cops, pretend that they don't exist for a second, and I can believe that the cops would be lying. Because, like, if there was some form of paperwork that they didn't fill out, they'd want to cover their own asses, that kind of thing. It happens all the time, that kind of thing.
Lazy cops, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So and no offense to the States, but it happens so often in the States. That's all we hear about in the media over here is the failure of the police in America.
And I'm gonna say one thing real quick here. And I'm not a fan of the one of my biggest videos is don't talk to the police. Like I'm not a guy who just comes out here and blindly like says the police are always right or wrong or whatever. But I will say one thing, because I'm in Korea too, and I'm abroad, and there is a gross overrepresentation in foreign media of the issues with our policing system and our justice system, which overrepresents the bad shit that goes down and underrepresents the good stuff.
Yeah, that
because you don't hear about it. You don't hear about it when they don't fuck up. You only hear about it when they fuck up, right? Like, why would you hear about it? Like, oh, they got it right.
Gold star for them. They got it right today.
That's their job. Like, that's their job. Like, they're doing their job. Okay, good job. You did your job, right? But I hear what you're saying. But I do hear what you're saying. And I know cops and they make mistakes. They're humans, right? I make mistakes. I'm a lawyer. I've made mistakes, right? Everybody makes mistakes.
Police definitely make mistakes. I mean, I was on the way home from an extra shift I did at a kitchen once, and I got pulled over 30 seconds away from the flat that I was living in with my mum.
Yeah.
And he said, "This car stinks of weed." And bear in mind, it's illegal over here in the UK. Quite serious for him to come and say that. And I was like, that is cooking fat. I have been stood over a chip pan all evening for the past 6 hours. That is chip fat. You can smell it. And he was adamant.
He means fries, guys. He means fries. Just to be clear.
Oh, yeah,
here,
yeah.
Let's be clear. Let's translate. Sorry, no, it's okay. It's okay. I got you guys. I got you.
Yeah, I forget you guys call chips crisps, didn't you?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Oh God.
Crisps
We're not
are
gonna go
called
there.
chips,
We're
yeah.
not gonna do the whole translation thing. It'll be all night. It'll be all night.
But no, yeah, you get what I mean. I mean, they always make mistakes,
For sure.
and it's only the mistakes that get heard of. I mean, police
Exactly.
do an incredible job in every country, and I'm sure they do a lot of good things over in America.
Yeah.
But like just the gist that you get from the media, and I think this is a deeper problem with the media, is
Yes.
the media, like this whole. Like, okay, let's take the UK for example, because I should only really talk about UK examples, considering that's where I live. The UK government.
You've got me on the line, so like if you say like just like that, right? Like if you say something that I feel is like a misrepresentation in the US, like I'll tell you, right? You know, but you can tell me what your image is, because I think it's important for us, and that's why I love these morning streams when people outside the US are on, to get the perspective of how people perceive our system. Right? Because if it's perceived as unfair, that's really bad. That's really, really bad.
I think the US tries to give people a fair trial, but I do think the system in America is unjust. Not unfair, but unjust. Simply because, like, ignore the actual court case itself, because that, in my opinion, 9 times out of 10 is usually just. But if we take the wider media, and I know governments around the world, including the UK, and I'm pretty sure the US, correct me if I'm wrong, has tried to constrain the media in some way, shape or form over the last few decades. And the media's argument is always freedom of speech, freedom to publish, everything like that. And it's like, well, hold on here. You have freedom of speech and you have freedom of publish to publish the truth, not to be like most of the coverage I've seen from this trial. If you haven't covered this trial like from day one, or at least a good portion of it, and you're just reading it from the media, first of all, you're going to think that Johnny's losing big time when he's really, really not. Second of all, you're going to think that Amber Heard is the worst abuse victim in the world, in terms of she was abused more than anybody else in the entire world. And you're not going to see the obvious things. Like, I mean, if we go back to when Amber said that Johnny punched her in the face multiple times as he grabbed her by the hair. Which hand did he grab her with? Because one of those hands was in a hard cast at the time. And which hand did he punch her in? Because you can't grab when you're in a hard cast. And it's very hard to punch when you're in a hard cast, in the manner that she was describing it anyway.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And it's just impossible. It's impossible. And to clarify, because this is a great thing, I'm glad you came on, Jordy, because it's really good to get a perspective of somebody who's living in another country and hearing about this case. From what I've heard from people in Australia and New Zealand, they said, if we were listening to the media, if you turn on, my Australian friends say, you turn on the TV here, it sounds like Johnny Depp is a monster and he's wrong and he's losing the case. And Amber Heard is, like you said, the worst victim ever. Is that pretty consistent across the UK? I mean, maybe there's one or two random periodicals, but...
So I've just done a quick Google search, because this is how I like to do all of my headline examples. And I've just
but Jordy, that's great, because that's how a normal person would search, right? A normal person would search on Google, right?
Exactly.
You're not doing some weird legal lawyer stuff. You're just doing normal stuff, you know?
No, that's it, exactly. So just do a quick Google search, and I've just put in Depp v. Heard UK News, right? So the top one just says live trial updates, which is fair enough, because that comes from the Independent, so you expect them to be semi-independent. The next one down from Sky News, Depp v. Heard, Johnny Fall from biggest movie star in world. That's a partial headline, because Google is too long for it to display the full headline. And if we click onto it, we then see it says Depp v. Heard, Johnny's fall from biggest movie star in world to bank loans.
Which is crazy, because I'm going to pull up this one super chat here that came in. Claudia says, I want to know what her finances are looking like. Surely all those legal fees are draining her funds. She's losing money faster.
Well, Elon's paying for her team, isn't he?
This is exactly right. That's exactly what I'm like. Let's expose. Like, why is no one talking about the fact that Elon is bankrupting Amber Heard? Like, we should all be talking about that. That is a big thing, that Elon is like, baby, daddy Elon is financing this, because there's no way she has this money. There's no way.
There's no way at all. And like, I know he's never going to be watching this, but God forbid he ever was. What the hell are you doing?
Who knows?
I mean,
what's up, Elon?
We've all seen the pictures where they're walking arm in arm, and he's got massive bruising on his face. So, I mean, it just doesn't sit right with me.
Maybe it's his kink. Maybe it's his kink. He did the three-way with. They admitted in the deposition he had the three-way with him and Cara Delevingne. Like, that's.
I mean, what a three-way though.
one woman who has no soul. The other one is literally batshit crazy. Like Kara
Yeah, but
is,
they're
like,
the best ones in
absolutely-
bed.
I know that. That's the point. The crazy pussy is amazing pussy. That's the problem. Like
Exactly.
That's the crazy problem. They will do whatever. Like whatever you want. Like it's on the table there. That's the problem. You know it, Jordy. Monk says Amber is obsessed with herself. She is seething. Yes. Yes.
And I think that's part of her diagnosis. And this is the one thing I think lots of people are going into, which I think is wrong. Because you've got to remember the assessment that she had was court ordered in terms of the court said you needed to have it. The court obviously didn't appoint the psychiatrist. That was obviously Depp's team because they got Curry. She's fantastic, by the way. I think she's great on the stand.
So good.
I mean, if I could pick a psychology expert for a trial, whether it was in court or just a deposition, it would be her all day long.
Because she is not just knowledgeable. I'm gonna say it right now, guys. And this is she's hot. And here's the thing, guys.
She's got the charisma.
Here's the point. People are charismatic and attractive and have attractive personalities. You're clean cut. You look nice. That's why, you put your best foot forward. When you're doing an interview, you look the cleanest you look. So you put your best foot forward. People judge you they judge your character based on how you look, right? Even if you just put yourself together, you clean yourself up, you look better, you're perceived better. Somebody who's dressed with like a pizza stain on their shirt, you got sweatpants on, is not the same if we're in a suit and tie, a freshly pressed shirt. You're perceived as more hardworking, more reliable. And Dr. Curry presents a very good image, and she's knowledgeable. And I think, by the way, Amber in the trial was trying to mirror her with those glasses because she wanted to get some of that reliability that nobody attributes to her.
And pushing on the back of that, Dr. Hughes was the exact opposite. Like,
unlikable.
A psychiatrist or a psychologist, whichever she was, trying to push even gender norms on people is ridiculous. I mean, when I did my A levels, which is the thing, the level of exam you have to do in order to be able to get into a university, I studied law and psychology at access to higher education level. So it was only 1 year instead of 2 years. And one of the things you learn in A-level psychology, so basic psychology where you can't even practice it afterwards, is first of all, each individual is exactly that. They're an individual. Second of all, when it comes to violence, they're even more of an individual because there are millions of women out there who display male characteristics and vice versa. There are millions of men, and I'm not on about like physical here. I'm on about the actual mental characteristics that we associate.
And it's more of a spectrum, right? Because it's more of like a bell curve. It's like you have a bell curve, and like there's some people that are at the extreme end of the bell curve, right? And there's some people that are. So when the whole stereotype of men are more rational, women are more emotional. Well, I know many women that are extremely rational and men that are extremely emotional, right? I mean, there's a spectrum, right? There's people that are going over there.
You throw diagnoses like mine. I'm autistic. I've got ASD. Right. You throw an even bigger spectrum like that onto that bell curve, and it makes it even harder because there are times where I can be the most closed off person, where I can be the most emotional person, the most cuddly person, the most sexually active person, the most socially inept person.
It's I
always watch what I say because I know some people. I've watched a lot.
Not on my channel, Jordy. You're good, guys. This is not like other people, and you're the first time on my channel, so I do appreciate that. But on my channel, I tell it like it is. I tell the facts. I don't even care if I get demonetized. My commitment is to the truth and getting the truth and the facts out there, and that's what LawTube is committed to. That's why we're breaking through, and people are tuning in, and hopefully you guys are sharing this. Like, make sure you're liking this and sharing this, guys, because without us covering this, a lot of this truth wouldn't get out there because the mainstream media is not telling it. They're just straight up gaslighting you. They're literally gaslighting you.
Like, one of the things I will say for the people watching is, like, everybody in LawTube is great. I want to just first say that. But you've got the people who are slightly softer and more filtered, where you get the truth, but you're not necessarily like getting to the core of that truth because of that filter. And that's one of the things I like about you. I think, do you know what? There's 2 or 3 others that are like it. I think, I can't remember the woman's name now.
Which one? Emily?
Emily. Purple Hearts. Yeah. You've got Emily. You've got, I think it's Joe as well.
Joe's pretty good. Yep.
You've got That Umbrella guy as well. He's completely
Tug, he's
unfiltered.
very good.
Tug,
and
yeah.
and Tug is Tug is not just unfiltered because people have been coming at him. He's a subject matter expert. He's been covering this for a long time. And he was on my channel the other day, and I'm gonna try to have him back, if I can. He's so busy, it's difficult, but he's been following this, and he's got a folder, he's got the details, he's got them all marked, so you can pull it up like that.
He recently had a guy called Greg in, and I believe he's from the UK as well. So if speak to Tug and speak about what they spoke about with Greg, and try and get Greg on at some point, because
Awesome.
Greg is a subject matter expert in terms of male and female DV victims and things like that over in the UK, and I think he might now be over in the States. That was the impression I got anyway. But yeah, going back to headlines and things like that, I mean, the best one I've seen, the Depp v. Heard court duel approaches its climax.
Insane, right?
Yeah,
it's insane. Like, how can they get away with it? I mean, and they think, here's the thing about these court cases, which is crazy. They think you're not watching them. They think people aren't actually watching them. But the problem is that people are watching them, and when you watch it with your own eyes, when you go to the actual source, you realize that, wait, this isn't what actually is happening right now. She is in no way winning. Nobody, I mean, no lawyer, even the ones that have tried to straw man for her, will look at what's been presented and say, yeah, Amber has a really good shot here. And no one will say, I haven't actually found one lawyer that actually thinks her counterclaims aren't going to get thrown out, where they get thrown out by the judge or by the jury. Every single lawyer is united on that she is not presenting the information. And by the way, she's not going to get it from Johnny when she puts him on the stand on Monday because of attorney-client privilege. That's an objection which stands also for the statements that Johnny said to the attorney. It goes both ways.
I would disagree with that slightly. Like,
go ahead now. So
I can look at this both from obviously a legal perspective and a non-legal perspective, because I don't work in the industry now. From a wholly data perspective, based on the data and the evidence that's been collected, ignore people talking, take people talking away from it. I think it's like Johnny will win on his SV one, that title. That's a guaranteed win. I'm kind of 50-50 on the other two statements, because like I said, it's whether the jury thinks that all the physical stuff that's come from him has been retaliatory or not. I mean, just because in intelligent, clued up people like ourselves and most of the world see that.
But Jordy, are you talking about the counterclaims? You're talking about
I'm talking about Johnny's claims about Amber's statements in the op-ed here. So the title Johnny will win on. The other two I think is 50-50, because they don't actually include SV, and it's more generalized about the physical stuff.
He doesn't need to win on all three, right? If he wins on one,
he just needs to win. Exactly. Yeah.
One. I think frankly, one is good enough for Johnny. And also, there's the court of public opinion victory he was looking for, and I think he's won that. I think enough people have been like red pilled by this and have learned the truth that I think.
I disagree again. Because
okay.
the wider public, I hate to say it, our opinion, the viewer's opinion, in Johnny Depp's mind, we might be like fans or not fans or whatever, and it might take up 25% of his attention. But in the big picture, he doesn't care what we think. He cares what the bigwigs in Hollywood think, because they're the ones that are going to be giving him his jobs back.
That's fair.
And there are a lot of people in Hollywood that are siding with Johnny, but there are also still a lot of people in Hollywood that are coming out in the public in the last 2-3 days, still pledging their support, not donating.
Right. Material difference between pledging and donating, right?
I mean, when she tried that argument, she was always going to lose. But yeah, there are lots of people in Hollywood that still support her. And that's where I think it doesn't really matter what we think, and it doesn't really matter what the court case decides. Because court cases always go against DV victims, and they always go for DV victims. There's always that. I'm not going to say it's an equal balance, but there are a lot of DV claims that get thrown out, even if they are legitimate and genuine.
That's very true. That's very true.
And rich and famous people know that better than anybody else, because they've probably been part of a lot of these DV or SV claims. I mean, we all know how many DV, SV claims get brought against famous people.
And they have more to lose, and they have more at stake. So there's a lot of other incentives, right? There's a big difference between Johnny Depp, being the subject to an SV claim, and if you're living at home with your mom and all you got is your PS4, or not even a PS5, PS4, you're not as big of a ripe of a target, right? For that claim, right? You're kind of, it's like, okay, you're out there. However, The other thing is, if you don't have the resources that Johnny Depp has, then you can't fight one of these claims. That's the other side of it.
And that is the other side of it, yeah. And but I think the Hollywood stuff is more important than like the wider public, because the wider public would they throw their objections on social media. Also, if a film was to come out and people are against him, they obviously might not go and see that film unless he's Captain Jack Sparrow. I think everyone would always go and see that. I mean,
there's no pirates. That the hashtag was trending, Jordy. No pirate, no Johnny, no pirates.
Yeah, no Johnny,
no Johnny, no pirates.
I mean, I don't agree with his replacement. Let's put it that way. But that's
horrible.
A conversation for a different day.
He is pirate. He is pirates. Like, down. No argument here. Jordy, if you mind, I'm going to burn through some of these chats. You can help me answer some of them if you know anything.
Yeah, sure.
So I got Pastor Flash who says, "Do we know why the security guard pulled the bottle from the trash? Anything come from it?" So I know the big theory is that there might be booze or something else in it, but I haven't heard anything decisive on that. Nobody's come out and said, yeah, for sure it was like
Wait, is that in the courtroom?
Yeah, in the courtroom. So Amber heard the bottle she was drinking out of, she threw it in the trash, and the security guard pulled it out of the trash.
So I can tell you what that's going to be. So normally if you've got a high profile case over here and they do something like that, it's because somebody has claimed something was in that bottle that shouldn't be in there, whether it's one of the legal teams, whether it's somebody that's just in the court viewing the case, or whether it's somebody watching the case at home. They could have contacted the court and gone, look, based on these several things, we don't believe it to be water or a non-alcoholic liquid or a non-drugged liquid. Because some of the bubbles in there look like it could be some kind of powder that she's put in there.
And I think that after the whole incident of her snorting, I think maybe they're really paying attention.
I don't think she was snorting there. I have watched that clip loads.
But whether or not she actually was, there was enough question. And what that does is it calls the court into question. It's kind of questioning the judge. Like, how do you run your court? Do you allow people to do drugs in your court, judge? So now the judge is probably a little bit more on edge. I agree with you. It is probably somebody who called it, but we haven't yet seen an analysis or a report or like anything come out that say, okay, we looked into it and officially.
And I don't think we will.
I don't
think we will. Even if it goes against her, she'll get admonished for it. I don't think she might get a small fine. I mean,
like
I don't
a
know
vodka soda, if it's like a gin and tonic over there,
Yeah, they're going to do their alcohol and their drug tests on it. I mean, that's clearly why they've pulled it out. But I mean, Judge Ascarati, I think I've pronounced that correctly.
Sure, yeah.
She doesn't seem like the person that would announce this even after the trial, because she's been very like, if I could stand in front of any judge as either a lawyer or as a party in a case, I would want her all day long. She's very similar to one of the judges I stood before when I was a claimant in an injury claim when I was 18. I only had to go to court because the claim came about when I was 17. So because of my age at the time, and I was like, well, I'm 18 now. So, but anyway, he was exactly the same. And I actually put my foot in it there because the solicitor told me when I get out that if I'd have just kept my mouth shut and hadn't said that I had the apprenticeship, because basically I had an injury that stopped me getting in the army. So obviously that's loss of opportunity because the amount of money I would have been earning in the army. Yeah. However, I opened my mouth and went, yeah, I've now got a temporary apprenticeship at this company. Therefore, loss of opportunity went out the window. And my solicitor came out and he was like, you should have kept your mouth shut. And I was like, you didn't ask me that question before we went in. Therefore, you didn't even know what I was going to respond to it. If you'd have asked me that, you could have prepped me for that. And
they forgot to do that. But
that's the issue with Amber. I don't think that prep's going on because the difference is I wanted it. I don't think she's allowing it.
You don't think Elaine is prepping her for everything? You don't think she's completely on point with this?
I don't think Amber's allowing it. I think Elaine will be trying to prep her.
I agree with that. But
Amber just seems like such a control freak.
Yes. I think Amber is a control freak. She absolutely is, and she cannot stand to let anybody else run things. Lena says, in the picture, there was a makeup brush. Yes, there was. Britt had a $50 super chat. I'm just going to read this, guys, because some of these have passed, so I'm reading them behind the scenes. But Britt's super chat was Britt Cormier. Says, I want anyone to explain in Australia after being dragged across broken glass, violated with a bottle, being beat with rings on the head. They do the following: lock yourself in the room and take sleeping pills. Yeah, that's... I just don't understand. To me, I don't understand, Britt, how, frankly, how she didn't have to go to the hospital, go to the ER at that point.
Yeah, that's like my biggest problem with a lot of these situations is like we call it A&E over here. I'm guessing it's the emergency room over in America or something.
Emergency room, yeah. That's like when really bad, like you get a gunshot wound, or over there in the UK, a stabbing, right? And that's more common. Than a gunshot wound,
I mean, we definitely have a lot of stabbings, but that's my biggest issue is she's never sought proper medical attention for any of these. Like she was smashed in the face multiple times with these big, heavy, thick rings. You're going to hospital after that, or the next day you're going to have a really mangled up face anyway.
Exactly. I mean, you're not going to be. I bring up the photo of Rihanna, and I brought up in the past where Rihanna was hit in the face by Chris Brown. She canceled her engagements for 3 full weeks, fully canceled them. And remember, this is Rihanna, who is much darker skinned than pale ass Amber Heard, right? I mean, anybody who's that pale knows, and I have, seen pictures of girls who are very pale. They bruise easily, very, 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 very easily.
Yeah, my wife does. Literally, we can wake up some mornings and I will say to my wife, "Blooming hell, have I beat you or something?" Because of the amount she tosses and turns in her sleep, she bruises so easily. It's yeah. I mean, she's literally like as pale as Amber. So, and I mean, that's some of the bruises I've seen on Amber. I've seen on my wife when she's woken up from tossing and turning in the night. And I'm like, has she just caught Johnny in her sleep as she's been tossing and turning? And that's kind of like bruised her. Like the grab on the arm. Like,
it's nothing. It's nothing. That literally could be anything. I mean,
again,
it proves nothing.
If for example, I've got a 2-year-old daughter, right? We all know how annoying kids can be sometimes. And if I can tell that my wife's getting like really, really pissed off, then I might drag her away by the arm, not like violently, but that'll probably leave a bruise because of how easily she bruises.
If you tug her away, that's going to bruise her, right? And that's not you being an abuser. That's not you being a horrible human being. That's just you. Hey, come over here. Let's calm down a little bit. Maybe she's being too emotional. Yeah, exactly. And you just calm down, let your emotions chill out a little bit, and then reassess it and make a different decision, right?
And also couples play fight. I mean, I'm training to be a professional wrestler. So I will try some of my moves out on my wife, and she'll give back as much as she gets. I mean, the amount of times she's made me tap out, I've screamed like a little bitch because of her sometimes.
Wow. But, okay. All right.
We've left bruises on each other. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, man. Get yourself a girl, guys, who can make you tap out, right?
That's always get yourself a girl that can make you tap out. Yeah.
Susie says, could she have spiked his drinks to take the photos of JD allegedly drugging who's passing out? Well, that's the whole thing. Like, to me, what type of girlfriend or wife, especially wife, what type of person like takes a picture of their loved one, someone who they say all they do is care about, all they do is want them to get help?
I have a good argument on that one.
Takes those photos. Okay, go ahead. I want to hear your argument, Jordy.
So, I used to be what I would consider an alcoholic. Because I used to go to the pub every day after work. I used to have 10, 11 pints of beer, go home, and that was 6 days a week that I'd be doing that. Yeah.
That's a lot.
And I did that for like 2 years. So I used to consider myself an alcoholic. And my partner at the time, if, for example, I, on the way home, decided to lay down and take a 10-minute nap on the pavement, I wouldn't remember it by the time I'd got home. So she would take a picture. She wouldn't send it to anybody. And this is where I'm going with it in a minute. She wouldn't send it to anybody. She'd probably send it. More than likely, she'd send it to my phone or take it on my phone. And if she took it on her phone and sent it to mine, she'd delete it off of hers. Just so that she could go, okay, you do realize that you drank so much last night that you literally had to curl up in a ball on the pavement in the middle of the street and take a 5-10 minute nap, because I wouldn't remember it. But the big thing in there, like I was saying, was that she did not send it to any of her mates. Not
even her bestie saying, this is what I have to deal with. She didn't do that?
Not even her best mate, no. And bear in mind, this specific relationship that I was in at the time, because this wasn't my wife currently, because this was a fair few years ago. This was my ex-fiance who ended up sleeping with both her best friend and my brother. So the fact that she ended up doing that kind of stuff at the end of the relationship, but didn't distribute photos like that. I mean, you just shouldn't distribute photos like that. I understand taking them because like the person's not going to remember and things like that. But I mean, that's where the big difference with Amber is. She has not taken them for the pure purpose of reminding Johnny what he's done the night before and how he's ended up, let's say. She's took those pictures to ridicule him amongst her friends, in my opinion. And that's where like I draw the line, because someone like Johnny doesn't necessarily need help, because obviously he knows that he uses a lot of drugs and drinks a lot of alcohol, but needs the support around him. And he clearly wasn't getting that support from her. And they're supposed to be husband and wife, the love of each other's life and everything.
Exactly. They're supposed to be the ones who are supporting each other and helping each other. And I with what your wife was doing for like that I understand, right? I get that. Like if you need an accountability, a lot of times you do need an accountability buddy, right? You need somebody who's holding you to task, right? Someone to call your shit out. And if you have that conversation with your wife and say, look, I want to change, please help me, that's one thing. But Johnny never consented to this. This was all without his consent. Actually, in fact, we clearly saw that when he was in the video where he was he was slamming the cabinet and then he poured the wine and he found that she was recording without his permission, right? And got mad.
And that's why I don't understand how it's been admitted in court. Like my understanding, and potentially I might be twisting it because of what I know about UK law, but UK law is like you cannot video record, voice record, or anything anybody.
It depends on the state in the United States. It depends on the state in the United States. That's the problem. Right. And there may have been, there may have been an ability where it was recorded. Obviously, where it was recorded was permissible, and because it's the parties and only the parties, then it doesn't hit hearsay because it's both parties.
Over here, even if it was just like let's say that the court case was in the UK and it was between me and my wife, and I'd been secretly recording her and she'd been secretly recording me. I would like to say I'm about 80% sure that those would never be allowed to be admitted into court.
It doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter whether you're a woman or a man. It's not going to be.
Yeah, right? It doesn't matter who it is. And even though it's only you two, and you two are the only parties involved in the recording and in the court case.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it goes against that privacy law.
You guys have much stronger consent. So I actually worked part of my later job life, I was in more of compliance, and there's so much more in terms of consent that's required for data and information in the UK and Europe. Like your standards are way higher than the United States. We have very, very low standards for giving over our information, which is a problem. By the way,
it just seems like not enough people are fighting against that one in the US.
No, and because they're oblivious to it and they don't.
Yeah, I mean, they need to look. People need to look at what's going on in the UK and Europe in terms of general data protection regulations. GDPR came in 2016, 17, I think, and replaced the Data Protection Act of 1999. But even the DPA 1999 was still almost as good as GDPR. GDPR only came around because obviously we're more heavily invested in the internet, social media, and everything like that now. And the US citizens really need to start looking at things like that, legislation like that, and pushing their own government to be doing it from a legal aspect more than anything, because it affords you so much privacy where if you post something online, it's completely different. But if somebody else posts something of you online and you haven't already posted that then becomes a completely different story because of GDPR and everything like that.
100%. By the way, Jordan, did you say they're 25 years old?
I am 25 years old. Yep. Okay.
Wow. So I guess people are impressed because that's in the US, I guess it's the low end of if you're getting out of law schools, maybe 23. I've had there's a shocker 22-year-old getting out. But most of the time, you might be a little bit.
So I started. So I didn't actually attend a physical university. I did my LLB through the Open University. So we study from home kind of stuff. Because basically, when I was a bit younger, I'm not going to go into ages or specifics. I had fallen out with my dad. I didn't really know my mum, so I went to live with her. But I still had to have a job, and so I couldn't go to an actual physical university because I was working full time. So I did Open University. It took me 3 years to get that. Then I did a 1 year STC. So I was done with all of that I started that at 17. So I was done with all of that by the time I was 21.
Wow. Yeah. That's
left the industry when I was 22. And then I've been in data for, the company that I'm currently working with, I've been with for 18 months, coming up to about 18 months, I think. And then the industry I'm in, because I was doing something different originally, and then I swapped over to their data department because I sent their boss some work that I'd been working on in my other department, and he was like, "Oh, you've got a really good eye for this kind of stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm autistic. I do have a really good eye for this kind of stuff." and that's one of the things I think that helped me, in my studies, in practice, and in watching this case and trying to compare different things to the UK case and things like that. Is the
details don't escape you. The details do not escape you. Yes,
exactly.
Yes. Yes. I'm always been like a big picture guy. That's why I love to work with, I think this is all about collaboration. Like detail guys are great and that's perfect because you need that, but then you need the big picture guys to kind of put it together, get creative and like package it and put it out there. So that's why I love collaborating with people. And it's great. I love this community because everybody has their specialty, everybody has their skill, and you can bring that in, right? And like through together, we're creating a community of experts where, you guys who are makeup experts, whatever, reaching out to me, you in the UK, reaching out to me. I'd love to see an Australian lawyer. Hey, if there's an Aussie lawyer out there, I'll say right now, Aussie lawyers, if you want to talk about the perjury case in Australia, what you think about that, if you got knowledge on that, reach out to me and we'll talk to you, right? Because that's how you come together, build a community, and get the truth out there. And like, I'm so happy this is coming out nowadays. So there's a super chat here, 999, that says the Brits were the first to use the word soccer, short for association, in football association, similar to rugby with rugger. Brits changed it to football around the 1890s, but we kept soccer. How about that?
So I think both terms were being used at the same time. So if you actually look into the history of football and in rugby, because I used to live in the town that is called the birthplace of rugby, which, believe it or not, the town is called Rugby. So coincidental. And so rugby was invented by a chap at the rugby private school. His name escapes me. But he was at the private school in rugby. They were playing a game of football and he literally picked it up, run with it to the other end and scored a goal. And that's pretty much how rugby was invented. Obviously, from there, it's tweaked and everything. And you've got rugby, American football and all the other kind of sports. That they're all rugby in a way. And then with football, I think the terms were used interchangeably. So again, if you go back, it was like people say it was invented over here. I'm pretty sure that when I looked into it, because I disputed it with a debate group that I was in, I think it actually came from China initially. And was
the term?
Not the term, but the actual the having two teams kicking a ball together was done in China a lot before football in in England, for example. And I don't know whether it came across, whether people from China brought it across when they came over to England or anything, or whether we just started playing the same game and calling it football ourselves. I'm not quite sure what happened there.
Yeah, very possible. It's very possible. Like, I mean, once again, it's so interrelated and so mixed. It's very, very possible. Do we know? Okay, there's another super chat here. Do we know anything about the theory that Amber killed her friend while drunk driving? That's from I Kissed a Pixie. So I haven't heard this. I haven't heard about that one. So Kissed a Pixie. If you have information about that, send that to me and I'll investigate it. I'll look into it. It's not coming up in this trial though. Like that is like a type of crime that is like far enough out.
Wait, I've just Googled it. There's a headline here from sengnews.com that says the mugshot of Amber Heard resurfaces amid bizarre claims that she killed her best friend in a car accident.
That would be crazy.
So the preceding date of the arrest, according to the legal document, was September 12th, 2003 in Austin, Texas. That was when this mugshot has been taken from, that whenever she was arrested there.
But there's a mugshot, right? I wouldn't be surprised if there's a drunk driving, charge. I mean, drunk driving is the most common charge in the United States. Like literally, of all the charges you're going to get, criminal charges, right? Drunk driving is a very, very, very common charge. So wouldn't be surprised there. Now, I haven't seen any proof yet, and I need to look into this. I'm not comfortable saying, hey, she killed her best friend yet, but.
So the only thing I've got here is that apparently during Heard's early years, she lost her best friend in a fatal car accident when she was 16.
So people are trying to tie 2 plus 2 together there. So
I believe so, yeah. So in 2003, when this arrest was, she wouldn't have even been 16, would she? She'd have been old. How old is she now? Well, she was 30 when she was 30 on her 30th birthday in the trial. So when was that incident that she alleges happened? Was that May or December?
I think it was
Coachella's May, isn't it? So it would make
sense. When is Coachella? When is Coachella, chat? Let me know, because I've not been to Coachella.
I don't even know what Coachella is.
It's a festival. So hold on. It says she had a suspended sentence till she was 21. Okay. So people are saying 36. She just turned 36. Amber turned 36.
So that would line up then, wouldn't it?
Coachella is in April.
So that would potentially line
April
up.
22nd. Okay. So our birthday's in April. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. So yeah, so it does line up. So this theory is looking spicier. It's looking more credible. But once again, I want to be very careful about what we say here, because that's a very so it's just a theory.
So she was booked for driving with a suspended license.
Yep.
She has been booked for that. Yep.
Mandy,
But I've
Coachella is
not
a
got a
festival.
date on it.
Festival. It's like a music show. If you haven't been to a festival in a while, I know, Mandy, you're hanging out inside with us law tubers, but it's a big festival. You all do drugs. You listen to music. MDMA. Everybody does MDMA. You know, it is a thing.
So 2003 was when she was booked for driving with a suspended license. So that's when the mugshot's from. Also, it could potentially also be the time when she was arrested for the dispute with Tasya.
That's
which was
true.
In 2009, but the picture looks to me more like it's like of quality of around 2003.
Yeah.
And apparently, there was a manslaughter case in 2003 that Heard was a part of.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
I'm going to have to look into it and see if I can actually find the legal documents behind that, because I'm seeing it on about 7 or 8 different news articles, but I really don't trust the media.
Yeah. So, Jordy, if you want to chase that, that's great. And if you get back to me, if you find something, just let me know. By the way, are you from Sunderland?
Oh God,
Big
no!
Surprise says accent seeping through a bit.
No, I'm not a northerner. How dare you? Nah, so I'll give you a bit of my life.
Were they intentionally trying to insult you with that? I don't know.
They were.
Okay, is that an intentional dig? I have no clue. I have no clue right now.
I don't know whether it was intentional or whether they're just like missing the accent. So I don't really have a true English accent, because a true English accent is when you have an accent from one particular area in the UK. So the UK has probably hundreds of different accents for such a small area of land. And so I was born in Basildon, which is in Essex, which is the east of England, not far from London. I'm about 50 miles away from London was where I was born. Then when I was very, very young, about 1 year old, mum and dad split up and dad moved up to the West Midlands. So about 50, 60 miles away from Birmingham. Again, I'm trying to give place names people have heard of here for people who aren't in England.
Right.
That was when I was in the middle of sticks. Lived there for 18 years until I was around about 18, 19. Then I moved back to Essex because I wanted to get to know my mum. I'd had enough of my dad. We'd had an argument. So that was the first time I properly lived in Essex, if you like. And I've bounced between Essex and the Midlands, kind of like from 18 to about 22, I think. Yeah, I'm 25 now and I've got a 2.5 year old, so that would make sense. And then for the last 3-4 years, I've been down here in Essex. But we're going to be moving again because our intention is to get as close to Scotland as possible. So we're going to do it in stages.
Got it. Any reason why you're going to go close to Scotland? Why is your intention close to Scotland?
We went on our Derby. Stop it! Sorry, that's my dog. I also have a dog as well as a 2-year-old.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Oh yeah, especially Don't tell me about it. Yeah, but Scotland. We went on our honeymoon to Scotland. She really likes it up there. I really like it up there. I don't want to live in Scotland because politics. Which I won't get into.
That's not on this channel. We're keeping it focused here on the turd. But yeah, I
exactly.
You've got some personal reasons for moving up there.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to kind of be close to the border where we're still in England, but it's maybe a couple of hours to get to a good these cities in Scotland. Whereas now it's like a 2-day trip because I won't drive it all in one day because it's 12 hours of driving in one day.
You don't want to do that. You do not want to do that. Not at all. When we work through the next super chat. Super chat is here. It's from Francis F, Francois F, 499 euros. What if she wins the case? Is perjury still possible, or is it harder to put in place? I think we answered this. That I think winning, if anything, winning the U.S. case puts it in the record, and then shows also that Johnny won. So I think that from a certain standpoint, I think that makes perjury more, at least politically, palatable. Because if he loses, then it's okay, well, why are we pursuing somebody who lost, right? Who the jury didn't believe, evidence was unreliable. I think that's less than if somebody was proven to be right. If Johnny's proven to be right and he collects. K Arcanine Trainer, $2 super chat, says, "Big fan, dude. Find other stuff to listen to in the morning." Right? Yeah, it's good. I'm glad to do this morning slot. This is a great slot, I think, for people abroad, whether you're in Asia or Australia, New Zealand, over there in the UK, Ireland. I think it's good for everybody. So I really do appreciate having people around the world listening now. Liam says, "The perjury warning was added to English witness statements recently. The courts have gotten serious about perjury. The donation lie is serious." That's from Liam. What do you think about that? That perjury warning was added to English witness statements. I don't know what.
So it's been on witness statements for a while. I mean, I'm currently partially handling a personal injury claim for my dad. It's on his witness statements.
Do you think he means, when he says recently, do you think maybe he means the last couple of years or something?
I think maybe the last decade, because even when I was 16 and I wrote my witness statement for my the car accident I was in with my dad, where it went to court, the witness statement I wrote had on the bottom of it, obviously, that this statement was written under oath. I can't remember the exact wording of it, but it was very clear that you can't lie in that statement or you risk prosecution, basically. So it might be within the last decade or so.
Got it. Let me get the next one. The next one is Hails for a $5 Canadian super chat, says, "I'm a victim of sexual and physical assaults. Amber Heard, when you murder someone's heart and soul to feed your ego and have no remorse, you are the monster I believe in." I think a lot of people are behind that one. Thomas Percival says, $10. "I wish I had your help when I was falsely accused of DV, lost my home over 90 days, created drama with friends and relatives, all due to makeup and false statements, so I can feel for Johnny." See, especially coming from Thomas, I assume that's a guy, right? That really hurts me, man, to hear people, and also stories like, you were telling Jordy, where, these are people, I'm getting messages from real people reaching out to me saying, when I went to bring my story, nobody believed me. And now I'm seeing somebody who has this story, who's being attacked by the media, who's being shamed by the media, who's being called a liar. Everybody who's watching this and interpreting the facts on their own, you guys are Russian bots. You're all white male misogynists, right? White nationalists. Sorry, you're white nationalists, so you're all Nazis. So it's really insane. I mean, and I'm glad a lot of people who normally wouldn't be open to this are kind of realizing, okay, hey, maybe the media is not on everything telling us the exact truth there. We're not going to go deep down that rabbit hole today. That's a whole separate rabbit hole. But they're definitely putting a hard spin on this one. I think that's undisputable.
Gotcha. And one thing I do want to say is, for anybody that is going through anything, by God, just because of what's happening in the media, don't think that you can't come forward. I mean, you've got to remember that this is a massively public case with at least one high-profile celebrity. She's a nobody, in my opinion, but there we go. Mm-hmm. Of course, it's going to get blown out of proportion. Of course, the media is going to slander one of them. It's always going to happen. When a normal person comes forward, that kind of media attention is never going to happen. And because of that, at least over here, I would hope that the system is slightly easier to work with when it's not a high-profile case, because the pressure's not on the police force to get it right or be slandered in the public eye. The pressure's not on the court system to get it right or be slandered in the public. I mean, poor old Justice Nicol, his judgment was completely wrong and everything, and he shouldn't have been involved. But some of the hate he's received since that case is completely unacceptable. It's
unjustified, right? I mean, you shouldn't go and pillory somebody. If there's a process, they need to go through the process, right? They need to be investigated, right? That's the whole point of due process, is we need to be looking into everything. I mean, here in the United States, right, we gave the Redcoats due process for the, incidents in Boston, right, during the revolution. That's the whole principle behind it, is even if we hate them, right, they're entitled to due process under the law. And that's the beautiful thing about our system. And I say, look, as bad as we can think things can get, as unjust as our system can be perceived as, if the court system is perceived as unjust, we've really lost something in the United States. We've really lost something if our court system itself is perceived as unjust.
Exactly.
Around the world, there's so many countries where the court system itself is unjust. Like, not just the police, but the court system itself is extraordinarily unjust. And people don't trust those courts. People don't trust those decisions. And that's why the United States, at least we have that. And I can't say a lot, but at least our courts are relatively just, not perfect,
I mean,
That
you
doesn't
had
mean you're
it.
perfect. Yeah.
I think America's losing it because of the Supreme Court. But that's I mean, so
A
many
separate
people are
topic. Yeah, we'll
misunderstanding
go.
that, and it's a separate topic. But yeah,
Yeah, we'll bring you on. We'll bring you on another time to talk about that. I think we'd have a fantastic conversation about UK versus US and some of the differences and how we can kind of learn from each other. And I think that'd be very, very fascinating. Mandy says she's a victim of this culture and that she helped create it. Speaking about Amber, that's her $5 super chat from Mandy. Kevin Michael Reed says the standard for civil cases is preponderance of the evidence, more likely than not beyond a reasonable doubt. So Kevin, I know that when I was saying it as if I was saying my belief is up to beyond a reasonable doubt. I understand the difference. Civil is preponderance, criminal is beyond a reasonable doubt, right? This is not a criminal case. Also, I know a lot of people confuse the UK case. They think it was a criminal case for some reason. And it's like, no, that's not a criminal case. This is not a criminal case. Nobody is going to jail except for potentially the perjury stuff. That is a criminal charge, right? In the United States, you could go to jail for that, but that's a separate case. That's not on trial right now. Nettie says, $10 super chat says, Amber clearly stated she used a theatrical bruise kit. She tripped over words. Check out her recent video. It shows a makeup artist who noticed a palette in the image with ice cream. Yes, we've shown that. And I know a lot of you sent those chats. So just so you know, we showed that. That was the image that we showed a little earlier. Tara Rayner says, for $10 Canadian, says, IMO Amber Heard is evil and cunning, a psychotic POS, piece of shit. I'll just say it, guys. On this channel, we fucking say it. But her parents and sister excused her, I bet, her entire life. This behavior wouldn't be new. They're still doing it, and Johnny Depp won't be the last prey for baby. Yeah, here's the problem. And I've talked about this a lot, is there's this like pretty privilege and also this situation where the father was raising her to be as if she was a boy and kind of, had so much expectations from her. But I think Amber Heard has gotten out of stuff most of her life. And all of this discussion that she tries to levy at Johnny about his enablers, she is guilty. Once again, Amber Heard projects. So she herself is guilty of living this life where everybody says, you're amazing, Amber. You're great, Amber. Think about Gone Girl over there, Amazing Amy, right? That's really crazy, the parallels there with the bottle story. But everyone's telling you how amazing you are. You get a complex, right? You think you can do anything. Next, we got a comment from what Wayne said, which says, everybody I know in the UK thinks Amber is 100% out of her mind. What do you think about that statement? Like, what do you think about that, Jordy? Does everyone in the UK think Amber is out of her mind?
I mean, clearly not, because you've got news articles that are still supporting her. So it's clearly not everybody in the UK. However, I think people know over here that the UK trial was a bit rotten. So a lot of people have formed their opinions from that and already considered Johnny not to be a wife beater, as the Sun claimed. And I think that support has kind of followed on and then been amplified throughout this case. I mean, if you look at them both as witnesses, and again, I'm going to look at this from a legal aspect as if I was like representing them both.
Right. In the UK, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anywhere, representing them anywhere. I would rather have Johnny as my witness rather than Amber, because people feel sympathy for Johnny when he talks about his experiences and his emotions and his hardships that he's been through. And even when his witnesses are then talking about things, you heard the bandmate most recently, the ex-bandmate, say that people like Johnny's position, people are always after something. They always want something from him. Yes. And people felt sympathy with that because it is so true. Whereas when Amber's on that stand, she's just so, even when she's not trying not to be, she's so aggressive.
For no reason. Like,
so defensive.
Why are you so defensive? You have no reason to be answering like that. Just answer like, yeah, no. Like Isaac Baruch, he's the exact opposite. Look at Isaac Baruch. So likable.
Yep.
So likable. And I don't care what you think
of
his...
Josh was likable as well, I think, to an extent. Yeah.
Yes. But I don't care what you think of Isaac Baruch's artwork, but his artwork aside, right?
That's some skeptical artwork there.
It's crazy, right? It's absolutely crazy. But it doesn't matter because he's an affable guy. He's a really affable guy. And that's what's coming out here. Hall says, for a $2 super chat says, also, I've watched every minute of the trial. Halls, you're not alone. You're definitely not alone. Dylan says, Jordy, $5 super chat from Dylan, 98. Jordy, I'm from Ireland, and our news sites tend to overlap with those in the UK. I get pop-up notifications on my phone saying, heard details abuse.
I've had the same pop-up. That's from Sky News, so I have. I'm just gonna like, I don't care.
So is Sky News the worst of the worst over there? Like, what's the
Do you know
worst?
what?
In the UK? Is it Sky?
I don't. No. So I actually watch Sky News a lot, but like, I think what people have to remember is when a news company follows a trial, there's usually two sections of an article, and there is always with Sky News in this instance. So you've got heard details abuse, which was the live updates to her trial because she was attempting to detail the abuse that she'd been given. So that was correct. And then you've also got the opinion part, which then follows off of it, which is the correspondent that's working on the live updates, then going into further detail. And the reason I say it's an opinion piece, even though it might not be classed as one, is because there is a lot of opinion in there. Sky News, in my opinion, is one of the balanced ones when you actually read the full articles. If you just read the headline,
so the clickbait, they clickbait you in, and then you okay. So look, guys, I mean, I know you guys hate it, and look, even for this trial, like I had people saying, Andrew, oh my God, the title's clickbait, heard perjury trial. I'm like, no, I'm going to talk to you about
is clickbait.
Right, but the point is that it's that once again, it's as much fact as it can get in there, but you got to drive you into the content, and then you get the education. If you're actually being educated by the article, it's like, oh no, I was tricked, but okay, I'm learning something, I'm growing, and we're having fun, right? The whole point is to come in, learn something, have some fun at the same time. And if I read something and it entertains me, educates me, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay, maybe the title was a little bit over the top, right? But if it's neutral, that's okay.
I mean, none of these articles are ever neutral, but at least there is some like there is always bias.
There's counterfacts. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
If you looked at the Vox or the Vogue article, that's
massive counterfacts.
That's the example of no other.
They contradicted them. Well, no,
they did. They contradict themselves
so many times.
Yes, they absolutely did contradict themselves, which is crazy. I Kissed a Pixie says, I recommend the book The Secret Barrister for anyone interested in understanding the madness of the UK legal system. Okay, I haven't heard of that one, but that's awesome.
Not read that one myself.
Well, maybe it's a reading recommendation. Tara Rayner says, years from now, Elaine will write a book detailing the abuse she suffered at the fists of Amber Heard. There should be a bruise check on her team the entire day. I've seen so many memes about them getting beaten up like over the break, which, look, I like memes and I try to have fun on this channel. It's part of it. So if I find a good meme, I'm going to show it. But look, I mean, I think it's undisputable that, like Jordy was talking about, Amber Heard micromanages her lawyers. And as a lawyer, I would never take those clients. I hated those clients. When I was a young lawyer, I was forced to take clients because you're in a law firm. You're like the lowest level. You're like the slave, you have to take the clients. But as soon as I got high enough and I'm like, okay, I get to choose, I will never work with those clients that micromanage me like Amber Heard would. And one of the reasons why I think her counsel is so god-awful is because the type of people that will allow you to do that aren't good lawyers in the first place.
Yeah, I used to do the same as a paralegal. So obviously the representing solicitor or barrister would do like the main contact, but then any subsequent contact where the clients were just calling in to get information, paralegals handle them. And I used to avoid them, but I've now turned into that kind of person because I'm the person acting on behalf of my dad because dad can't read or write very well. So I'm liaising with his solicitors and everything. And I am now that micromanaging client because I have that knowledge. Like they sent a letter out the other day with a really low figure on it. And I was like, well, how are you making that claim? It should have 3 parts, not 1 part. It should have this part, this part, and this part. And they're like, how do you know that? And I'm like, well, guess.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
Micromanaging clients are so annoying. Whereas, like, you can tell that Johnny kind of wants to interject sometimes, and like he is writing stuff down, so he might be writing notes for
and that's fine. But Jordy, that's okay. Passing a note, and then they can say whether or not, because I've seen that. I've seen when he passes a note to Ben Chu, right? And Ben Chu will sometimes lean over, and I can almost read their lips and say, and be like, hey, Johnny, don't worry about it. We'll get it on redirect. Don't worry about it. We got this. Like, hey, Camille's going to bring this up. Don't worry, or hey, this is our strategy for this. I mean, I really don't think Johnny is demanding. It just isn't in his personality to demand that his lawyers do stuff like.
And you can tell by the demeanor of his lawyers as well. And I mean, you mentioned Camille. She is an absolute goddess in every way, shape, or the form. That cross-examine was, wow.
That's textbook. That was textbook. That was. It was because that's how you want to do it. You want to go in fast. You want to get what you want. You want to not be derailed. You want to get your narrative out there. You want to get her just having to answer questions, getting into yes, no, as much as possible. Amber never allows that completely, but as much as you can, and really railroad her with that. And they did it in a quarter of the time or half the time at least, that the direct for Amber used. And because of that, that's one of the reasons why they have a 10-hour advantage going into.
I am so happy about that. So
10 hours, Jordy. 10
do you know hours. Do you know what I would do with that? So they're going to use at least 4 hours on Monday doing their last witnesses if they don't end up using 8 hours.
Depp is supposed to be on the stand for Monday. I don't know what you think about that, but and I'm talking about Amber's team calling Depp.
What? Why would they do that?
Because they're freaking insane.
Oh my God! No,
because they've gotten.
That's,
and here's what
that's an Amber thing. It's got to be.
Jordy, here's what they're going to try. It probably is an Amber thing, by the way. And it's like one more dig, one last chance to get him up there and mess with him.
But that's the worst thing you can do.
They're
because you're going to run down your own clock. It doesn't matter. You're going to run down the clock, and then on the very last day, in the very last. My last 6 hours of this trial, if I was Depp's team and Heard's team have no time left, Kate Moss no cross all day long, and JD with no cross all day long. Let him tell his story without. They can object as much as they want because they're going to look like arseholes doing it, but they're going to have no cross or anything like that on it. So let him tell his story from start to end, from the moment they met. Because we can see clearly in the public from things that have been said, the evidence that's been given, that all of his problems, well, not all, but an awful lot of his problems that got worse when he met Amber and in 2010. And I think the jury is being muddied by Amber and Amber's legal team on that. So I think having Johnny at the end with no cross, just being able to run through that, the 12-year period up to now as quick as he can in 4 hours.
Right.
Will really have that punch
as much as he can do it, right? As much as they can do it. But I think they've got time. Like I said, they've got time to do it. They've got plenty of time. The next super chat here catches from Katarina G for $14.99 Australian. This amount of perjury and obvious proof of lies. Can the judge overrule the jury's decision? Clapping emoji to the law tubers and internet journalists. Hope Johnny was watching and sees the support. What the hell, Elon? Run. Yeah, well, Elon's already in for a dime and for a dollar. But honestly, the big winner here are the internet journalists because the truth is getting out there. And they even said Adam Weissman said, literally, I treat internet journalists like actual journalists, which that pissed off the mainstream media. Everybody who was there was like, oh my God. And Tug got the shout out. That umbrella guy got the shout out. Amazing for him. And shows that we're having an effect. Like the internet is having an effect. We're not just shouting into a void. We're not just Russian bots, misogynists. We're actually getting real good information out there, and it is impacting things. Amber Heard would not bring it up at trial if it wasn't a thing. The internet and all of us, are living rent-free in Amber's head. She is obsessing about it 24/7, I believe. Rob Amel for 220 just sent a €20 super chat. No message. Thank you very much. Mike Litzka said, on the body, you can clearly see the cop move past the guy and say, I want to make sure everybody is okay. Watch the body cam video. Okay, maybe I'll try to pull up the body cam video another time. I don't have it pulled up right now, so I'll try to get that one another time. Gromax, Tug was a shout out in court. Best ad ever. Yes, so good. Paral Shrivastava says, can we get other LawTube members to join the chat? I invite them, and I do invite them. I actually dropped the link. Here's the thing, guys. This is too early for the rest of LawTube. And it's not a good or bad. I'm not no shade. I love them. I go on their shows. But my show is for you guys who are at this time slot, who are in the UK, who are in Australia, New Zealand. You guys, really, some of you can't be on when these other people are streaming. You guys are sleeping, or you're busy, or you're at work, or you're other places. So I invite them. They are fully welcome to come on, but I'm the only one in Asia, right? Nobody else is really abroad other than Legal Bites, but she's going back and forth between California and where she's at in Europe. So yeah, very rare to get people that are in different time zones. So I'm trying to help that so I can talk to you guys. Cheeky C says, tweeted the bruise kit to you, and it's Greg Ellis. Thank you. I got that, and that's the one I showed.
Can I just jump in with something I've seen in the chat?
Yeah, sure.
So Diane's just asked in there, after the incident with Johnny's finger, where Johnny's finger got hurt and she cut her feet on glass.
Right here, yeah.
That's the one. There you go. Yeah.
In the audio, yeah.
See, I haven't heard that. So I mean, I haven't listened to it without people talking over it. So
Jordy, I think I hear that, but yeah, you can go back and listen to that audio, right? That audio is there. So you can go back and pull that. But I mean, maybe that's worth listening to check out that fact, right? Because yeah, walking around after you've just been dragged through glass is going to be extraordinarily painful, especially the cadence of the walking. You wouldn't be walking quickly after you've got your foot cut up with glass, like even a little bit of glass. You'd be very, very ginger about your walk. And you might be able to hear that.
That's it, yeah. And I've just seen another one where someone's added me and put that they've read and have heard that women can't be jailed or prisoned for SV. I'm guessing what they mean by that.
Sexual violence in the UK? Is that what they're saying?
I'm guessing so, because they've put RPPPE. So I'm guessing they've tried to spell out a different word.
Yeah. Don't say that word, though. Don't say that word.
No, that's why I was trying to tread carefully around
I got it. Yeah, that's not true, is it? Or, I mean, or is it just like conviction rate is very low?
I think the conviction rate is very low. And like, there's this whole misconception around the world that a woman cannot do it to a man, which is completely wrong. And I think that's where that kind of opinion comes from. Like,
right.
I think there's a low conviction rate because there's a low reporting rate of male SV victims, because male SV victims have this stigma around them where it's like, well, how can that happen when she's much smaller and weaker and whatever than you? And it's like, well, that's not a factor in it, in my opinion, and shouldn't be a factor in the legal sense either. But that stigma means it's a low reporting, which equates to a low conviction rate.
So I completely agree with that. There's a lot of factors that lead to like the low reporting, which is a low conviction rate, which leads to, okay, effectively it's something that doesn't happen very much, especially comparatively, right? If you see number of men's reported instances versus women, right? You know which one is going to be higher, right? That's just going to be there. Doesn't mean it's not happening, just means it's not getting brought in and reported, right? Tara Rayner said, Eric Hunley said to slow video of the Amber Heard testimony to see how demonic her expressions are. A very unwell woman with too many around her who help hide it. That's what I was saying earlier. Projection about the enablers. That's very for sure. Alice White says, for $4.99 British pounds, says she is also a gabapentin, which makes you bruise a lot easier. I don't know what a gabapentin, GABAPENTINE. Have you ever heard that before, Jordy? I've never heard that word.
Sorry, I was looking at the chat. Spell that out again.
I'll spell it. I'll spell it in the private chat. Gabapentin. I've never heard of that before. I put it in our private chat. If you go to the
I've not heard of that one before.
I've not heard of that term before. So I mean, that's a new one for me. I'll have to Google that real quick.
One thing I do want to address really quick, and I know it's going to be at the back of your list because it's only just come in, but it's
that's fine. You can address it. That's fine.
£2 super chat from Mitch, who says legally women cannot arm men in the UK. That's factually incorrect, and I just want to say that there are. I mean, I know people that were in young offenders institutes that were females that had been convicted of SV against men, and that was here in the UK. So if there are inmates within young offenders that have been convicted of that, I can guarantee there will be females that have been convicted in adult prisons for the same thing as well. There is no law in the UK that says that men cannot be victims of SV. It's just
right men cannot be the victims. Right. Once again, I think that people are maybe conflating.
There are a lot of judges that won't convict, and that's the issue.
That's a big difference. That's a big difference. So I think this is what they might be talking about. Gabapentin apparently is a anti-convalescent medication used to treat seizures and neuropathic pain. So maybe this drug.
Oh, so it's an epilepsy pen, basically. So
yeah, maybe that causes bruising. Like, okay,
it does. Yep, it does. Yeah. So any
theory, right?
So there's if it's an actual epileptic pen, which is like a needle that you stab into yourself, that's obviously going to cause bruising. There are also lots of medications that you take that make you more prone to bruising. So, for example, you can just like brush against a table, not feel it, but it can leave a bruise. So there's a lot of medication that does that.
That makes sense. Donna for $7.99 Australian says she is a model and actress. Her face is her livelihood. There's no way she wouldn't see a doctor to check her suspected broken nose, questionable Pinocchio emoji. Yeah, 100%. Because I think 100% she would go see a doctor, go see somebody, because somebody who's that vain, who uses makeup all the time, they're 100% going to go in and check their face, right? 100%. 100%. They're not going to just go ahead and say, oh, no, it's fine, I'm going to be all right. No way. By the way, Sandra, thank you for becoming a member. You have access to the emojis, the soju, toilet, Andrew, Adam, all these other emojis, some inside jokes from our channel. There'll be some more there too. Plus, if you say stuff, I'll try to catch it if I'm not behind on super chats like I am right now, trying to get to everybody. Also, Johnny Arbor, good morning in Texas. Good to see you, brother. Potentially a doctor says for $5, I don't know, something. Is there a possibility of bringing the paparazzi pictures of the day after the TRO that she clearly appears to have no bruises? There's a lot of questions about paparazzi photos, right? Who owns those photos? Are they going to have permission to come in? If they haven't, here's the way I'm going to put it. With the amount of money that is out there in this case, and the amount and the level of lawyering and everything else, if they haven't brought it in, there's a reason why. I don't think there's any evidence that they haven't entered because they don't know about it. Now, I think there's some arguments that they're thinking about that they didn't know about before. I think like the Milani makeup palette, that was actually something that was a new fact that the internet exposed. And I think Amber on the stand, when she said, oh, it was a palette like this one, was to cover herself for the internet. That I think is new. But in terms of the actual pictures themselves, I don't think there's anything too new that is out there, that's been out there, the paparazzi have had, that hasn't been considered to be entered in evidence. Super Iron Bob says, #believe all women, really all? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Thank you for that
I like that one. I do just
go
want
ahead.
to quickly say there are a lot of people in the UK, not in the UK, in the chat saying that I'm wrong about R being able to be convicted.
Well,
in
how
the
about
UK.
this? How about Jordy? Let's look. We'll have a separate conversation about that because we can debate that another time. Maybe there's more information. Maybe I can look at it. Yeah, I will look into that. If you guys are so convinced about that, you want to make that a separate argument, a separate day. Let's look into that. Let's. And you guys here, I'll put this on the chat. Chat. If you're so convinced about it, send me the proof, right? And we'll look, and I'll drag him back on, make him look at it, right? Sorry, Jordy, you just got conscripted. But
no, that's fine. That's fine.
If you guys have the facts, send them. But just because somebody said it on the internet doesn't make it true, right? So send us the information, send us the links, send us the law, whatever you think the law is, and we'll look at it, right? If you guys think it is, like Broken said, send the receipts. Send the receipts.
I think people are concentrating too much on the legislation because the legislation specifies female over male in terms of being victims, but there have been women that have been convicted of it. The most obvious one was an 18-year-old in 2001.
Then send the legislation, right? Then let's send this. Then send over the legislation, and we'll look at it and we'll see. Okay, what does this actually do, right? I think that's a good conversation. I think that's a healthy conversation for us to have. But just making a statement when you got a statement from a UK lawyer, that's not the law. You guys are saying something. Okay, we're at an impasse. Let's look into this a little bit more and get more details, guys. GP. So a statement. This one, I don't know what the name was. It showed up as blank, but $5 super chat says GDPR also requires all EU citizens' data to be stored in a way that is subpoenaable by the EU. So it's a mixed bag. Yeah, I think that was a big issue for Facebook, right? I think that was one of the big lines there was that they weren't turning over their data. Ashlisha Don Wate says, I sent you 2 videos on Twitter, one of her eating some sort of pill suspiciously, 2 of a photoshopped one of her bruise photo. So I think I've showed the photoshopped one of her bruise photo on a different stream before, but I will see if I can pull that one up. I have a lot of things in my Twitter inbox right now. So guys, what I typically do is if I'm overloaded on a stream. In the beginning, I can usually get a Twitter post up, but I'll show it next time. So I'll bring them up and I'll show all the pictures that you sent over next time because my box gets slammed by the end of these streams. Ray Marshall, $5 super chat says, California is an all-party consent state. Any recording without complete consent of all parties is illegal. Used to live there. Don't judge me. I'm laughing. Yeah, good thing you moved out, Ray. That's good for you. So here's the thing. If it came in, then it must have came in, over the objections of Johnny if it was without consent. If both parties were saying, hey, we're allowing it, we're going to allow it to be shown for the purpose of this, then there must have been some sort of consenting to this. So that's all I can say. Now, where was this taken? Who even knows, right? Was it taken in Australia? I don't know where that photo was taken. That I'm not clear. Al Larson, actually it was taken in their home, so that would have been California. I'm so sorry. That was taken in California. My mind's slipping, guys, doing this so long. Al Larson says, it has been said in court that the parties in therapy allowed recordings. They were disagreeing about secret recordings for the therapy. Hi from Denmark. Oh, that's very interesting. So this was a point of contention between them. Well, I can see that's very reasonable. I mean, if your partner is recording you and you don't want it to happen, then yeah, that's a big point of contention for sure. Ozzy says, Australian lawyer Mark Hodenot speaks on Stephen Avery on other channels. His name is his channel. You could ask him. Okay, I will look him up. I will add him. I'll see if he's on Twitter, and I will try to shout out to him. Michael Turkin said, is suspended sentence like a prayer for judgment or deferred prosecution? It's more like a DP, a deferred prosecution. So essentially they can bring it up later if they wanted to, but there is a statute of limitations. They can't just like drag it out any time. Wendy's Cafe says they can't bring it because she was a minor at the time. Minor records are sealed. You won't get court documents for it. DID4J says she was under 18 at the time of the incident, so the legal documents are sealed. Okay. So either drug or alcohol related, according to Tug. That makes a lot of sense. Mitch says Manchester represent. Jacob Gould says, Jordy, do you support Aston Villa or Birmingham City? If he's a Birmingham supporter, call him a blue nose.
Neither. I support Tottenham Hotspur, Coventry City, and Colchester United.
Okay, very good. Moni says, in $5 Australian, says in her opening statements, she said she volunteered at soup kitchens. Apparently, this was court ordered. Amber Heard using synonymous terms again. Yeah, well, the whole point is Amber Heard is doing what's called lie of omission, right? A lie of omission. I think the Catholic Church would take umbrage with this, right? She's leaving out very important information. And a lot of witnesses do this. For example, remember the former business manager that was sued by Johnny Depp? He left that fact out. In fact, they brought out, you haven't ever had a judgment against you. No, I have not. You haven't been convicted of anything. No, I haven't. Well, they settled. So that was very, 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 very misleading by Amber Heard's counsel to ask him those questions. Extremely misleading. Moni76 says in her openings. Oh, no, sorry. Liam says addition of perjury wording was in 2020. So Liam's trying to say, Jordy, that they changed perjury wording in 2020. I mean, you're saying you're not aware of that.
I mean, they might have changed the wording of it, but there was already wording there. So they might have just made it more to match clear? What the legislation actually says. Yeah, and makes it use the proper terminology rather than it being, because it was almost there as a warning saying you can't lie in this statement. So it's probably that they've changed it to include the punishment for that and the fact that it's actually perjury, etc. Got it.
Michael Nofsinger, $5 says, #Men2. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial may actually show the ridiculous pendulum swing against men and help bring it back to center. Yes, I think both genders should, once again, investigate all crimes. Totally agree with that. By the way, we immediately got a super chat here from Dylan that says, I'm a Tottenham fan as well. Let's go. We get the top four.
Yeah, we will. Arsenal will not get it. We will get that 4th place position. We deserve it this year.
We're gonna start beef in the chat. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Football beef in the chat. Let's go.
In the chat, literally, people like throw virtual cans over here.
Yeah, go on, Coys. I see someone just put Coys. Coys is come on, you Spurs. Exactly. Coys indeed.
Awesome. By the way, Mo says, I'm from the UK. We see the Sun and Daily Mail as trash.
Yes, we do. They're a tabloid. They're not proper news. I mean, they got made famous because of their page 3 nudities. So,
Well, I mean, nudity does get clicks, right? Nudity does get clicks.
Indeed.
SoCal Chris says, what do you think Amber Heard lawyers are telling her when she perjures herself or she goes off script? No, SoCal, I'm going to tell you this right now, and I'm convinced of this, that Amber Heard thinks she knows what's best for her legal case. I guarantee you her lawyers can't tell her shit. She is a type of client that does not listen to you. You can tell her to your face, Amber, don't say that. Don't say it, Amber. It's bad. Don't say it. And she's going to go and say it because she wants to say it. I think the Kate Moss thing is a prime example. I guarantee you her lawyers were said, Amber, don't say Kate Moss. You're opening the door. Don't do it. And what did she do? She went and did it. She thought she was smart. She thought she was clever. And then Ben Chew, as soon as he saw that, you saw Ben Chew's face. He lit up and was like, gotcha, bitch. Because now we can admit your criminal history. Now you open the door. Normally that's not admissible. You just open the door on that. Congratulations. You played yourself. Let's see. LB says, at least the U.S. has better sentencing than New Zealand, who let people off with a slap on the wrist, then laud the fact there's almost no people in jails. Roll eyes emoji for $5 New Zealand dollars. Look, this is a big issue, right? And this is kind of the pendulum, right? So there's two ends of the pendulum. You can either be, people accuse us for being strict, but I have a friend, for example, in Sweden who was almost murdered, who literally was almost murdered by somebody. The guy was caught, thrown in jail for his murder and out in attempted murder and out in 3 years, right? In a minimum security prison where you got all the comforts in the world, you know, no issues, all that sort of stuff. To me, it's like, all right, there needs to be a balance, right? I mean, we need to say, okay, there's some things we need to take seriously here. And I think the good thing about different countries and different places is, and I'm here in Korea, so I say this, you know, as a person living abroad, there's places that handle it different. Find the places you like the best. And in the United States, one of the good things is different states handle it differently. So find the state that you like best, right? Let me just block this ridiculous crypto spammer here. Always people trying to get the chat yeeted, right? So I bet it's the Amber Heard people. Blue Garnet says, became a member. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, brother. Katarina said, JD's homeless shelter. The freeloading four who backstab Sky News is private, and they mostly will, here in Australia, cover the truth. Well, that's good to know that in Australia it's not that horrible. Luciana Matos says, why don't they play the recordings from Australia where Dr. Kipper is looking over the tip of the finger and Amber Heard is crying out loud, what have I done? There must have been an objection there, and I think it's because Jerry Judge, the deceased, is in some of that audio. But I'm not sure why exactly. We're not privy to why the judge allowed stuff and didn't allow stuff. To me, I've heard that audio. We played it on this channel. If that was admissible, it would come in. But I'm not sure why it hasn't. Mel B says, is the sun in jeopardy? Why is the mainstream media skewed? Well, I'll let you get Jordy. Why do you think the mainstream media is skewed? I talk about this a lot, but I want to hear your opinion on this one.
3 simple words. I think Abba said it best. Money, money, money.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. It pays to skew, right? Like
a flashy headline pays. If you read a headline that said something like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard in court, it's not as interesting as Amber Heard accuses Johnny Depp of SV and things like that. It's just not as grabbing, therefore less people are going to click on it, less people are going to read that article, therefore less money for the company.
Yeah, and Easy adds here right now, this is one I think relates, so I'll read it right now. Sky and Sun, Murdoch, Comcast parents, they will side with Amber Heard. That's another thing too. If you're part of a media network, like you're obviously going to have the same messaging as the others in your media network. So, you know, you're going to try to line that up so one isn't contradicting the other. So I can see that one as well. Frentish, which says Amber Heard didn't rush out of court after cross. Watch the bailiff time her approach to Amber Heard. Amber Heard was escorted out, probably to keep Amber Heard from punching Elaine and screaming, "You've been heard, bitch." Lily Moore said, New Zealand 349 super chat said, Johnny's team will slay in closing. Love from New Zealand. Kiwi emoji. Thank you, Kiwis. Mitch said, then we saw the R. Stakey Farrell said, gabapentin oral med causes bruising, exactly how Jordy described. I wake up covered in bruise regularly, and I have no idea where they came from. There you go. Stephen Glasser says, you should interview actor Stephen Crowley, who started a movie with Amber Heard and has firsthand knowledge of her coke use after age 18. Look, I don't think anybody's going to be surprised that Amber Heard uses coke. Come on. It's Hollywood. This isn't behaviors going around. Nobody's shocked by Hollywood drug use. What do you think, Jordy?
One thing I want to say on that, not the drug use, but like Amber's team have opened the door now for Johnny's team in another sense, is because Amber's agent, obviously hyping her up, that's her job, said that nobody had ever had issues working with her on set. Since that statement, there have been Hollywood stars that have come out in the media and have said how difficult Amber Heard has been to deal with on occasions. So in my eyes, I mean, again, potentially they can't use it, potentially they can, I'm not 100% sure, but it opens the door for them to potentially get some people in that Amber's worked with to dispute the claim that Amber's so easy to work with on set. Yeah. And Amber is no angel. The whole point is Amber is literally painting herself as a saint, like Mother Teresa. Like Amber has done no wrong. If Amber literally showed just a drop of humility and a drop of, hey, I did something wrong here, I'm at fault here too, I think people would relate with her a little bit more, right? I'm not saying they would believe her, but I'm just saying like the humility goes a long way. And Amber Heard has 0% humility. Absolutely zero. Mitch says, and this is another pound super chat, and I know this is a topic we're not going to go deep into detail to, but Mitch says, wrong, there's a legal difference between grape and SV. Grape is defined as forced penetration, therefore women cannot be graped by men in this country. That's the argument. Once again, it's a fair argument. Yeah, if that's the law, and I mean that's how it's defined. Yeah, it is defined as forced penetration. Yes, he's correct there. Yeah. Okay, so are the punishments the same though, or are they different? Do they differ? Like, is one more harshly punished than the other? So R is depending on the circumstances, I guess. I mean, it's first of all, it depends on the judge. So normally, if that case is going to go, you're going to have a claim of R and a claim of SV. And it all depends on which claim actually gets through. Because, like, again, I've not worked specifically with R or SV cases. The firm I worked for was more family law, in terms of like disputes involving children and divorces and things like that. So I don't know the 100% specifics of it, but it's very much a split between the two, but women can, I mean, there are several instances where women have been, so yeah. Yeah, I can also tell you how, like, okay, not to get into details here, guys, but I can think of a couple ways there could be forced penetration of a man by a woman, right? Yeah. If you haven't heard of pegging, look it up. So I'll just go here. So L. Larson says, the timeline for the Penthouse and Amber witnesses, ? I'm not sure exactly what I mean, I don't have the exact timeline laid out right here, right now, but in most cases, when people have looked at the timelines and everyone has like gone in detail about each of these timelines, they don't line up, right? The stories and the times don't line up, especially when Amber's story particularly is compared to other witnesses' stories. Those timelines generally don't add up. Johnny Arbor says, Elaine Binger is the lawyer version of Amber Heard. Oh, God. Combining Binger from the Rittenhouse trial with Elaine would be a nightmare. Diane Beckel says, gabapentin equals pill, blood thinning equals side effect. Thank you. Thomas Percival says, if they call Johnny Depp, call Amber Heard and just ask over and over about being a victim until she cracks and gives a chance to apologize. I don't know. I don't think Amber Heard would crack. I don't think she would crack. I think she would double down before she cracked. I don't think you're going to break Amber Heard on the stand. I think you might get her to say some dumb shit, which she already has. She's been the worst witness for her side.
but I don't think she would. I don't think she would crack. Streaming for Addict says 49 pounds. Says, I think the makeup F-up was Elaine. They had a makeup artist, a deposition mentioning a different brand, but Elaine just messed the wording up that Amber is lying. See, that's the problem with an attorney. If you don't look at these details, you're going to fuck yourself. Like, that really is a big detail, and everybody, caught on to that. And it makes you look not credible. That's why you need to pick a good attorney. NSX says, 5 Australian says gabapentin is neurological anti-seizure, antidepressant drug, which does not mix well with joints and alcohol. I know firsthand. All right. Everyone loves Cthulhu says, into football terms, Legal Mindset is sending out a reverse "come and get me" plea to other YouTube channels. Don't let him ride solo. Hey, no, I'm happy riding solo, but also, guys, honestly, I'm so thankful. Jordy, thank you so much. I just want to say real quick. Really, seriously, thank you for reaching out to me. Thank you for coming on the stream. Guys,
thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
In the chat, can you guys put J's for Jordy? J's for Jordy in the chat. Can I get some J's for Jordy, please?
And I just, whilst you're thanking me, I want to clear up something Danielle said, because Danielle said I'm a lawyer. I am not a lawyer. I am trained as one, and I worked as a paralegal. But I don't work in that industry anymore. I'm a data analyst now. So I was trained as a lawyer, worked as a paralegal, and I had advocacy rights.
You were qualified as a lawyer.
Exactly. I was qualified and I had the advocacy rights, which meant I could do certain things that a solicitor can do in court. However, I didn't actually physically have the title of solicitor. I was a paralegal.
I can appreciate that distinction. Like, for example, I say clearly, like, I'm barred in Florida. I wouldn't represent like, oh, I'm barred in California, or I know Virginia law, right, where this case is going on. No, I'm not. And I appreciate that, because these differences really matter for professionals. So thank you for being honest with that. But your subject matter knowledge and your general knowledge in this has been fantastic. And you got a $2 one for you right here. So a lot of J's in that chat. All right. C says, for £5, says, I think the UK SV is a confusion of the offenses. My understanding is we have different offenses depending on what happened. So I guess that's generally the rule, right? Easy007 says, Sky and Son of Murdoch, Comcast, will side with him. Heard. I think we got that one. Pat Maloney says, higher priority, testosterone for Lofty or baby formula for Yellow Flash? Oh, God. Testosterone for Lofty. Lofty has so horrible things. Antoinette sent a 79-cent pound cent super chat. So thank you. We're now caught up. So thank you guys for bearing with me while I got through this. Jordy, let me ask you. So we've got this next week coming up here. What are you looking forward to on this next week of trial? And what would you look for in the closing arguments?
I'm looking forward to Herd's team having no time to cross-examine people. I just want Johnny to tell his story. I really, and I get that it is a story. And in a case like this, people always says there's two sides, and you're all wrong. There are three sides to every story. There is person A, person B, and the truth. Neither one of them ever tells the full truth because they have their version of events. So you kind of have to obviously pull the truth out of both sides. But just for him to tell his story and for people to hear it, it's going to be interrupted, obviously. But without the opportunity for the opposition to try and go, oh, but this, oh, but that, oh, how about this? And it's like, we've heard all of that. We just need to hear his unfiltered version of events and story now, without that ability for them to just throw stuff back at him that, again, isn't always relevant, because some of the things that were brought up by their side haven't always been relevant. I mean, I think you've all said that in LawTube, and I would agree with that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, we try to stick to the most, like, the relevant facts, and also the facts are getting admitted in the court, right? So there's a lot of extraneous stuff. And for example, with Jennifer Howell, I read the Howell Declaration, but I mean, frankly, it doesn't matter what the Howell Declaration says. It matters what they can get admitted into court when they bring in Jennifer Howell. So that's going to be a huge factor. And they said they're going to bring in Jennifer Howell. They've claimed that. So that will be massive.
Just a quick one for you. Apparently, Tug's on the way.
To my channel?
Yeah, someone's just popped it in the chat that said Tug's on the way. So
let me send Tug a link, right? So I'll share my link with him, because
somebody just asked, is that a baby or an angry cat? That is my daughter in the cat background. I don't have a cat.
Yeah, let me see. Where's that umbrella guy? Where's this guy? Streaming now with the UK. So Tug has the invite. So Tug may be on the way. I sent him the invite. I mean, I like it being early because like Tug can actually join because he's like waking up and like kind of getting oriented. So Tug was shout out to Tug. He was on a stream with me before Flashcast. So he was on that with me in the beginning and then he dropped off to sleep and I'm still streaming. So this streaming life is like really tag team, guys. It's insane, but I am glad to be wiped out. Literally, I got a call from a girl here and in Korea, and she knows how much I've been streaming. And because I was like, I cannot see anybody this week. That's it. Like, I can't see anybody. And she's like, make sure you eat. Make sure you're remembering to eat because I know you don't do that. And I was like, okay, let me pop an onigiri. You know, these little rice balls with kind of meat in the middle. I pop one of those rice triangles between. It's crazy. Sometimes I literally forget to eat because of this, guys. Cherry says, what do you think the outcome of the trial will be? Well, I predicted that he'll recover on the SV, which is a victory for Johnny. That's my thing. I give in terms of the SV, I think I'm very confident on that one. I'm 90+% on the SV. The other two I'm not confident on, but a win is a win. Getting one of those is a win. Jordy, I think your prediction is pretty close, pretty similar too in terms of the outcome of the trial, correct? You predicted...
unless I hear something like over the next few hours of the trial, really, because that's all Amber Heard's team's going to be doing with their own witnesses. Unless I hear something that makes me think Johnny just outright hit her first without it being retaliatory, I can't see any other outcome, really.
Yeah. I can't see it going any other way. Like, it just doesn't make much of a sense. Sal, Katarina says on YouTube, there's a new interview with Stephen Crowley that worked with Amber on a movie, Never Back Down, and discusses what it was like with her on offset and her jealousy, drug use, and Tasha situations. Yeah, that definitely makes sense because I'm sure she does not seem like a non-jealous woman. Like, Jordy, have you ever, I don't know, I'm not going to call it your wife out. So we'll say maybe before your wife. Like, have you met any women in your life like Amber Heard, or any people, maybe friends of friends?
I wouldn't say as extreme, but I mean, one of my old best mates who it's in the past, so don't think I can be done for it now, but who I used to get high with, she was always kind of like super jealous of her girlfriends, who else they were hanging out with. If, for example, one specific case, example I remember of her was the girlfriend had gone to a neighbor upstairs to just have some time away from the little one, because I think the dad was looking after the little one at the time. And she was like, oh, who are you with? Why have you gone round there? Why are you not texting me? So that incessant texting does exist. And I mean, it's more common than people think, I think. It's just like so many people just deal with it, and they probably shouldn't. I mean, if it's that on its own, it probably doesn't bother them. But yeah, there's so many people that kind of like are like Amber Heard, maybe not to the same extreme. I mean, she seems very, very extreme from like what I've paid attention to in the trial. It just seems very out there.
She seems like the type of girl. I mean, I can almost tell she's definitely mad and got mad that Camille was the one that crossed her. And I think the fact that Camille is a successful, professional, attractive woman pisses the shit out of her. I think like she did not like that. And the fact that the lawyer that came to deliver the post-nup, that whole row over the post-nup and the post-nuptial agreement, it was because it was a female lawyer. I think that had a factor in it. I mean, I'm not going to say, oh, that was the only reason, but I feel like that was one of the reasons. And I feel like that's very, very credible for her. She does not seem like the person who deals well with competition or other people. Antoinette says, if Johnny Depp had beaten Amber Heard, there would be defense injuries. Yeah, that's very true. She would have had bruising on her arms, stuff like that. If she'd be fighting back, that I can see that. Like that would actually make a lot of sense, Antoinette. Like I can definitely see that being a thing. Let me see if I can pull up some of this information here. People sending me I see you guys are sending me the information on the SV and on the grape definitions in the legislature. we'll do that on another stream. Like I'll pull it up. We'll talk about it. That's a very detailed topic. And I want to be able to read this beforehand, not on stream, so I can get more educated on this, guys. So, because I try to, if I'm doing a deep dive, I try to have at least a little bit of information on stuff and a little bit of knowledge before I just dive right into it. That being said, for closing arguments, do you have any strong arguments that you would make? Jordy, what do you think Amber Heard's strongest argument? Could you make an argument for Amber Heard? Could you get up there and make an argument?
I mean,
could you do it?
I think I could. It'd be very difficult, and I think I would have to kind of like string together. I would really have to try and mislead the jury, I think. And that goes against everything I stand for. You should never mislead a jury. The jury have to come to their own conclusion. Okay, you're trying to sway them. Obviously, that's the whole point. That is your job, to try and sway the jury. But to full on mislead them, which is the only way I can think to actually do a closing argument that would be successful for Amber Heard. I mean, of course, you've got a closing argument. You can say, there are several people that have seen the injuries that resulted from these incidents. But Johnny's team in their closing argument will just go, nobody saw the incidents actually happen, and the one that did have witnesses, there's several different accounts of. So can you trust those accounts? So right. I think everything that can be said in Amber Heard's closing can be countered very well and will be countered very well by Johnny's team, because I don't want to say that Elaine's team's inept, because they're not. They know what they're doing. They've just got a very inept client. But I think Johnny's team
they have a difficult client, right? Like
she's just
very difficult.
And she just doesn't know what she's doing. I mean, she thinks she does, but I mean, clearly she thinks she knows what's good for her case and what she should be saying, because I can only think that Elaine's told her not to say certain things, and she said it anyway.
Yeah. And I agree with you on that one. I think she definitely is. Elena said, hey, maybe you shouldn't say this. Like I said, maybe you shouldn't talk about Kate Moss. I think that's the best example. Like any lawyer would say that. Hey, I also think calling Adam Weissman, yeah, they had to do that for the counterclaims, but the counterclaims in the first place, they shouldn't have made them, right? The theory of damages is ridiculous, right?
Now, what's your opinion on this? If you were running this case on Amber's team, would you or would you not drop those counterclaims? Or at least try and lose on those counterclaims and try and make Johnny lose on... Because the counterclaims are just ridiculous. I
think trying to defend the counterclaims makes you look ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
It makes you look like you're ridiculous. It makes your whole argument look ridiculous. And you've got to, at some point, especially on this case, you've got to sacrifice. You got to say, okay, we're done with that. We're going to focus on like actually... winning against Johnny, right? Defending against Johnny, because at this point, it looks like he's going to get that W, right? So that's what we should be defending against, not dealing with these preposterous counterclaims, or these like ridiculous counterclaims. I agree. I would just sacrifice them. I would just say, look, we don't have to give them up. You can make the judge dismiss them at this point. You can make the judge like actually just throw them out, but you're not going to go out of your way to bring witnesses, to try to call testimony, to try to call Johnny Depp back to the stand, to try to win on these ridiculous, preposterous arguments. Right. I think that's a losing strategy. It's a losing strategy.
Especially when I think like a lot of juries probably value attorney-client privilege anyway. So why would they see a lawyer and a client using attorney-client privilege as a bad thing? I mean, I don't know many people. I do know a few people, but I don't know many people that think it's a bad thing.
Yeah. There's not. I don't think there's anybody that's really opposed to it that strongly. GM says, let's read the super chat here. Shannon says, GM, future cases, I may have been LM, but future cases to cover include Durham investigations or not open. Enjoy all the LawTube, learned a lot, great community, keep up the good work. Look, we go on demand. If you guys want something, we're covering it. We're covering Amber Heard because you guys want it. 6,342 of you are watching right now around the world. Please make sure you smash the like button. That tells me you like it. And I'll say this, guys, if you have anything that's coming up you're interested in, put it in the comments. I will read those and I will check it out. If you have cases you want, put it in the comments. That helps me figure out, hey, what do you guys want to cover next? But at this point, this is the biggest thing. And for so many reasons, because like Jonah said, when he says, my ex was much like Amber and it's giving me full nostalgia. I was pretty pretty concerned about pulling the plug and facing a wrath. Appreciate y'all. This is the reason why it's a big case, because we're seeing so many people are seeing their partner, whether it's a guy or a girl, right? And they're seeing that in Amber. They're seeing those traits in Amber. And I've had many people say, this is very hard for me to watch because I'm seeing my ex or my abuser or my whatever in Amber. It's very personal. This is something that's very personal for people. Marie said, did you see Johnny's ice cream sleeping photo on the bottom left? There's actually bottom right. There's a professional makeup bruise kit as yellow, which is a bruise and abrasion makeup. Yes, Marie, we showed that earlier. So that is definitely something that we're aware of. And it's something that could be good evidence of fuckery. VJ Baradvaj says, do you think Camille's career skyrockets after the trial? Camille's an associate. So if you guys don't know, you were a paralegal, right, Jordy?
Yeah.
So tell me if this is how it works in the UK in the firms, but essentially the paralegals are at the bottom. Sometimes they have secretaries under that, but paralegals usually the bottom. They're usually not attorneys, but they might have the criteria. But then you have associates, which are like the bitch level, like you're the slave, like you do everything they want you to do. Then you have the partners, and then you have senior partners kind of above that. But that's the pyramid, right? And the partners and senior partners give work to the associates. She was actually an associate, but honestly, I think this case makes her partner. I think she moves up after this. That's my 2 cents. What do you think about Camille?
I think she's brilliant. I mean, over here, the pyramid at my firm was paralegal, trainee, associate, senior associate, legal director, and then partner. So partners at the very top of the food chain. So if she's an associate in America, so she'd probably fall as an associate in the UK. So I would say at the very least, she gets bumped up to a senior associate over here in terms of like if she was over here. She definitely deserves a promotion, 100%. I mean, the way she's handled herself, and I've seen a couple of people pick up on this as well, but the way she was able to stabilize herself during that cross-examine and actually get her point across and kind of like take control of it as well was like a lot of lawyers, attorneys, barristers, advocates around the world. I just use the word advocate because obviously that's the overarching term.
It's like universal, like advocate is in a lot of language, right? Like that's well used. Yeah.
That's it, exactly. So, I mean, every advocate, a lot of them, they have their base, but when they're rocked, they struggle to get that stability back. And you could see in her posture that she tried, it didn't work. She tried something else, and then all of a sudden, boom, she's back in stride. And it takes a certain level of skill to do that. That's for sure.
Yeah, it 100%. Takes a matter of calmness. Calmness under pressure, right? She's able to like stay calm. She's able to stay focused. It's good. I mean, that's great. It's really great. We have some super chats here. So Be-a-thon 99 with a 20, I think, Danish krona said, did you see the Amber Heard scratch photo? Funny you say that because someone just sent this to me, and I want to bring this up real quick because this is actually a really good one that has come up recently. Like there's so many discoveries. So here it is. Makeup isn't covering this tiny scratch or baggy eyes. So she can't even cover up. This is the Getty image, and you got the enhancement here. You guys can see it a little bit. Let me see if I can just pull this image up right here. Just like open it in a new tab here. So you can see, I'll zoom in. Boop, boop, boop. You see this little scratch right here on her head? Yeah, if she can't cover that scratch on her head, how do you expect her to cover a messed up face?
That's something I'm surprised that hasn't been mentioned, actually, because I'm sure Depp's team must have noticed that. They must have. I mean, Camille was in front of her for long enough. And I mean, I noticed the whole thing on the cheekbone, and I was like, is that just natural for her? Because I've seen it on both sides of her face on her cheekbones. Is it work she's had done? Is she? I don't know if she's got a condition or anything, because I've heard her say at some point.
She's had plastic surgery. That's like factual. She's had plastic surgery, right? So she's definitely like had Botox.
And didn't she say at some point during her testimony that she had like a sensitivity to the sun where she had to wear sun cream every single day no matter what? And like if you've got a skin condition that she couldn't even name, by the way, which I think is a bit suspicious.
Yeah, it's very suspicious.
I mean, I have a
Extraordinarily
skin
suspicious.
condition. I mean, I would have come back and been like, "What's that skin condition called?"
And I've got a drinking condition. You know?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean,
it's
if she has got a skin condition, it could cause some kind of rash like that or some kind of blotchiness like that. And I don't know. I mean, I've seen it on her most days of the trial, and it does seem kind of like normal for her to have that kind of marking. So I don't know. It's just a bit.
It's a bit odd.
Yeah,
it's a bit odd. Like to say the least, it's a little bit odd. Next one we got here, we got a one from Heather, who says, I know an Amber Heard, even down to the TRO during divorce. Yep. And this is the thing, Heather. So many people are you out there. This is community. A lot of people are out there who are saying the same thing. I know people like this. Mama CEO says, late to the party, showing up to support. Love the content. Thank you so much. Jonathan says, have you ever heard or seen a jury member just up and walk out of the room or start an argument in court? Okay, so I'll speak on this one. And Jordy, I know you weren't in court, but maybe you've seen video or seen other places. I have only seen one person walk out, but that wasn't during court. That was during a voir dire, which is like when you're like getting prepared to question the witnesses. Like they did just do it, but I think it might have been an emergency or like running to the bathroom or something like that. But it wasn't during the actual case, so it was like a different. Well, the voir dire is the case, but it's like a different part of the case. So it wasn't like the case in chief. There weren't any witnesses up there, but that was one when I was in Miami. So, and I never learned what it was, but I have seen it once. Have you ever seen that happen, Jordy, with a juror walkout?
So again, I've heard during jury selection, I've heard other people within the industry speak about how jurors have got up when they've like not agreed with things and things like that, and that's happened. It's rare, but it happens. I mean, we had a client once where we're told she was quite unwell, and we're told her, look, if you need to throw up or anything, just leave. But because she was being spoken to at the time, she didn't feel like she could leave. So she projectiled all over in the courtroom. So that was one of those situations where
she projectile vomited in the courtroom on the stand.
Yeah. So that was one of those situations where she
That's
kind of
crazy.
like had permission to get down if she needed to just like kind of like just say, look, I need to go and be ill. But she felt like because she was being directly spoken to that she couldn't. And yeah.
Hopefully none of y'all are eating dinner right now.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully
Sorry,
not.
guys. Sorry, guys. That's pretty bad. That's a record right there. Next, we got one from Jono, which says, my ex was much like Amber. It's giving me foul nostalgia. I'm pretty concerned about pulling the plug. Oh, sorry, I got that one already. Marie said, did you? Oh, got that one. I'm reading this list. There you go. Al Larson says, I'm donating this. Hashtag where's Johnny? Smiley face. Thank you. Susie says, congrats on an informative channel. Heart emoji. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Matthew with just a £4 super chat. Mama CEO, late to party. She love the content, showing support. Michael says her face is messed up now. Definitely requires a brown paper bag. JK Wynn says for $5 says Amber Heard had a case and argument. If DV claims matched the photos and SV claim of JD being drunk and was unwanted and or Amber Heard intoxicated to consent, but had to ruin him. I guess what you're saying is the photos were taken without consent because he was drunk, right? Which is a thing, right? If you haven't consented to something when you're drunk, then you wouldn't have consent. 92 Abraham says, have you noticed in most of Amber Heard photos, she has placed her white coffee mug in the scene? It's the white coffee mug she is using in the JD abusing cabinet video and serving himself a mega pint of wine. Interesting. The cup theory. I like that. I like the cup theory, right? That's a very plausible. We're seeing these things pop up, these little photos pop up in different places, which is very, very, very interesting.
I just love the fact it was labeled as a mega pint. I mean, like Johnny said, he just poured himself a large glass of wine.
A large glass of wine. That seemed like an ample glass. I always pour myself a mega pint with wine. I never pour those like proper, the proper ounceage. I'm like, I want to drink and I've got to finish the bottle. So let me pour a big, big drink because I'm going to finish the bottle myself one way or another. Okay, these are the videos that were sent to me. So this is Sanctionites who says, I'm an expert in Photoshop Amber Heard claims she took 2 photos, one with different lighting. That is a lie. These are pixel perfect, the same photo. Below is a 30-second sample of random edits of that almost exactly create whatever filter she used on one image. Okay, so I'm going to play this video. There's no sounds. Wow. Crazy, right? That's crazy. So yeah, that was very accurate. So yeah, that's quick video. Next one here is one that was sent to me, which is just another little TikTok video. So let me play this one.
Wait for it.
I saw that one. It looked like she's taking a pill of some kind or something.
Oh,
yeah, I saw that when it happened.
Sorry, and by the way,
said to my wife, and I was like, "She's taking something she shouldn't be."
She did do it. I'm gonna play this one more time, guys. Here we go. Sounds off. Sorry for blowing out your eardrums. That she 100% took something there, guys. Like 100%. That was taking something. Sorry for blowing your eardrums out. I know that was loud. It kind of blew my eardrums out. But there's definitely a pill there, guys. That was definitely a pill there. Wendy says, did you hear Camille talk about staged photos? I believe she was talking about the Coke on the table. In that photo is Amber Heard credit card, Amber Heard's purse, and a woman's tampon applicator. What man used that object to store Coke? Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, guys, I grew up in Miami. A lot of Coke, at least around the people that I knew in Miami, okay? I had some people from Miami saying, oh, it's not like that. I didn't know anybody like that. Okay, fine. The people I knew in Miami, I'll throw myself under the bus, right? I saw a lot of Coke growing up. I never saw somebody snort it with a tampon applicator. Not once, not anywhere. That to me, that's number one, something that seems to be very specific, oddly specific, and probably specific to the Heard sisters. They seem like the type of trashy lady who would actually do that.
Do you know what's very sus about that picture?
Yeah, what's sus, Jordy?
The credit card. Why is the credit card face down? If I take a credit card out of my wallet, it comes out face up and I put it on the table face up. Normally, if I'm going to put it face down, it's because, like, for example...
It's mine and I'm concerned about someone taking the digits. That's why.
Exactly. Or if it was a natural photo and you'd realised that it had been face up, you'd just block out the details and black it out and redact it. You wouldn't then go back and flip the credit card over and take a new picture. That's no. I don't buy it.
It defeats the point, right? Like it defeats the entire point. Yeah, I know. I completely agree with you on that. Mel says Stephen Crowley says the scars on her arms were in 2008. Major contradictions that can be proven. Do you think the Sun ruling will be further appealed? So, Jordy, can it be further appealed? Is there like a higher? Because we have like 3 levels, right? You have trial court, and then there's like the middle appellate court, and there's the Supreme Court. Like, is there a higher level for the Sun trial?
I mean, it was tried in the High Court, and he lost the initial appeal.
So what are the levels in the UK? Can you kind of explain that? Like, I know it's probably complicated, but can you explain like the basics of the levels in the UK for like people like me who kind of don't understand the UK system?
So do you mean just like the court system,
the
or
different like where like trial court versus appellate court versus
yeah. So at the very bottom, you've got like magistrates courts on the left, and on the right hand side, you've got tribunals. They sit kind of parallel. In the structure. They sit parallel, but they are different things. So magistrates courts are like trials of summary offences. Anything that's then going to go to the Crown Court will start sometimes in the magistrates court. Family proceedings courts. So a lot of the family cases that we dealt with at my firm were handled within magistrates courts. And I believe youth courts also sit in the magistrates courts, I'm pretty sure. Then you've got tribunals, which is appeals from decisions on like child support, immigration, like those kind of bottom level appeals, if you like. Mm-hmm. Then moving up to the second step, you've got like just above magistrates, you've got the Crown Court, and then above but not directly connected to the tribunals, you've got county courts. So again, Crown Court is indictable offences. People who appeal from a magistrate court will appeal into the Crown Court. And I believe if a case is going to be sentenced, it will go to Crown Court as well. County courts, which is the majority of civil litigation, like the injury claim that I had, the one that my dad's going through, that will, if the one that I had when it went to court went to county court, if my dad's was to go to court, it would go to county court. So that's kind of like for that civil litigation matters. Then up from there, you have kind of like this big block where things are separate but kind of the same, and it all comes under the High Court. So you have the Queen's Bench Division, so QB Division, which is your contract and tort law. I believe commercial law comes into the QB Division as well. Then you've got Administrative Court, which is to do with, if I remember correctly, it's to do with appellates, and that kind of thing. Also, local authorities, and overseeing the legality of the inferior courts. Obviously, the High Court is kind of not the highest, but it is one of the three that can overrule inferior courts if needed to. Then you've got the Family Division, which self-explanatory, it's the Family Division. You've got the Divisional Court, which is appeals from magistrates, I believe, because you can directly appeal magistrate cases into the High Court. You've then got, oh god, there's so many. I'm trying to. There's two more divisions of the High Court.
But this is like a pretty. You can see how people get confused, right? Like this is definitely like a lot.
So the High Court is where Johnny's UK trial sat. That was with the High Court. Then you've got the Court of Appeal above that, which kind of self-explanatory. You've got the Criminal Division, which where it's appeals from the Crown Court and the High Court. You've got the Civil Division, which is appeals from the High Court, which again, self-explanatory. And then at the very, very top, similar to the US, you've got the Supreme Court.
So you have okay, there's a Supreme Court. Got it.
There is. That is at the very, very top. I think it's at the top of the US as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and they obviously take only certain things and certain things
and
that
it's
are
the final.
like, so
it's the final court of appeal for every UK civil cases, and I believe it only takes criminal cases from. Let me think about this. Scotland. It doesn't take criminal cases from Scotland, so it takes them from England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. But the Supreme Court does not take criminal cases from Scotland.
Hear that, Scots? There we go. Thanks for that explanation. Julie says the arm grab bruise had a hard edge at the top, like she bumped against something hard, not fingers. I bruise easily and recognize this. Okay, that's a very, very good fact. Thank you, Julie, so much. And that's honestly, that's what so many people have sent me, and even had people who've been victims who sent me pictures of themselves and said, like, hey, this is how my bruises looked, right? And I get it. You guys are seeing through the bullshit. That it's complete bullshit, right? It's crap. She's lying. And you guys are seeing through it because you're like, nah, that's not how that works. Like, it's not how it works. Wendy's Cafe says, zoom in on the photo. It actually shows her signature on it. So Wendy's, I actually had the photo. I don't know where it got. It's buried in my Twitter, right? It's buried in my Twitter. I need to start saving these things like Tug. I will actually today, before tomorrow. Zoom in on the photo. Actually, so apparently people have looked at the credit card. I've seen the analysis. And when they look at the signature block, it seems to be very similar to Amber Heard's signature. I'll try to find that one before next time. Guys, if you have it, people in the chat, if you have that zoomed in photo and you want to Twitter it to me, that'd be awesome. I'll appreciate that. But yeah, that's something I have seen, Wendy. So I am aware of that one. JDK says, if she claims she was too intoxicated to consent in bed, well, I don't think she made that claim though. I think Amber Heard made that claim that she was too intoxicated to consent. See, Goody says, Johnny would have had way fatter lines than those. That's right. Not Rakeda nose sized lines, but close. All right. Johnny Finnis says the card is her driver's license and the Coke pick. So a lot of people are saying that. J.K. Wynn says her claims were so extreme. It is too unbelievable. Yes, it's too much. It's the worst, like, sexual violence and assault and beating that anybody has had. It's comical. And I believe Tug played this when I was on another stream, but there's actually people who've put together reenactments of what Johnny allegedly did. And it's insane. If you see the allegations of what that Amber Heard said, she shoved her, punched multiple times in the face, a bottle thrown at her, slammed through a ping pong table. She would be out. Like, she would, all right, like, that's it. She'd be in the hospital. Here's the truth. Just looked it up, LSD in sheet form. Okay, cool. Very good there. Let me check my list here. And yeah, here we go. Funeral Man said for 1999 says, first LawTube chat to someone other than Nick, but enjoying your morning streams in NC, North Carolina, right? Raise up. And enjoying you in Legal Vices. Y'all compliment each other. Also, my sister is a putz. Hey, Legal Vices should be back. Legal Vices is actually getting drunk right now. He's enjoying his weekend. He's relaxing. I believe he may be the lovely lady, but we won't talk about that. That we'll keep that strictly confidential because as a lawyer, I always keep it confidential. But that's fine. That's fine. But he'll be back. He'll be back this week. We have a good vibe. He's also here in Korea. We know each other. We get drunk together sometimes when we're in the same city. So we have a good repartee. Minsky says, have you played the video of Elaine's facial feature on the mention of Kate Moss? Sorry I joined late. I'll have to replay it later. So I haven't played it yet, but I'll try to find that one here in a second. But thank you, Minsky. Wendy says, I've mentioned this on other LawTuber streams. Amber Heard stole Rihanna's story from a Barbara Walters interview in 2020, 12 years ago. She's stealing not just other people's stories, she's stealing plot lines from movies, literal plot lines from movies, which is crazy. Where's the perjury discussion? Rewind. TJ, we talked about the first half of this was perjury. So we talked about, man. So I'll give you a TLDR for those that just came in. Perjury is, first of all, there's two perjury incidences. There's one in Australia for the dog incident. That's still ongoing. That's actually being investigated. Real perjury, right, in Australia. The UK is considering it, which is why I brought on Jordy here to talk about UK law and what's going on there. So rewind to catch that, guys. All right, guys, look, it is 9:30 p.m. here. It's been a couple hours. We're going to say thank you very much. Jordy, once again, can I say thank you so much? Appreciate that. And I hope that you'll be able to maybe pop back on throughout this. I would love to get your 2 cents on another stream about how this is going and proceeding if you're available, Jordy.
Yeah, anytime. As long as I'm Monday to Friday, I work 9 till 5 UK time. So, but I work from home anyway. So yeah, right. Anytime as long as I'm.
You work 9 to 5 UK time.
Yeah, and I work from home, so it's not too bad.
Okay, I will 100% keep that in mind. Like I will definitely keep that in mind in the future for when you're available. I'm going to do 2 shows, guys. So this week, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. This morning show is staying. In fact, even after the trial, I used to do more night shows than morning, but I'm keeping this show. This is going to be my permanent time, either like, for US, it's like 5 a.m. Eastern or 6 a.m. Eastern in the US, somewhere in between there, maybe 5:30 a.m. Eastern. But for those around the world, this is the time. The time when I started today will be the time I start forever because this is just a really great time and it catches all those who are not in the United States and when everybody else on LawTube is sleeping, literally everybody. So I'm happy to come in on this time slot. L. Larkin says, I hope Mr. Depp is finishing the script at the time of his life right now for The Stand. It is a world-class suspense. I think we're all in suspense right now. Really. We're all waiting for what's going to come next. Last one here, Merbaby says, did you notice Amber flipping off the camera during Whitney's cross? Yes. I also noticed Whitney mean mugging the camera during Amber's testimony. It was real bad. All right, guys. So we're gonna cut it off here. Jordy, stick around for a second. I want to talk to you afterwards. But anyways, guys, thank you so much. Smash the like button, and I will catch you tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm doing this same stream tomorrow, and then I'll be every day after the trial as well. Until then, take care.